waiting for the return of our King to do what? Gather his scatter. We're waking up to the truth in these last days of who we are, and we're waking up to the truth of whose we are. Hit the like button when you come in the room so that the videos will be shared. Don't listen to people saying that it's all about clicks. I done proved it already. I told the world. The Most High gave me instructions. I didn't say that everybody had to do what I'm doing. He spoke to me. What did he say to you, Moray? He told me to tell the world to support the work of the awakening remnant through tithes and offerings. That my primary source of income would not be clicks on YouTube. I don't get paid from YouTube. It won't just be the amount of views or the amount of subscribers and none of that. And people thought I was lying. Oh, he's just doing that for clicks. No, I'm not doing that for clicks. We're sharing the word of Yah that YouTube's not gonna do.
You niggas don't stay in your life.
Because people need to hear the word. And then the prayer is that the people who hear the word, follow along, eyes open, are encouraged, will also look in this same Bible and see that they're supposed to support through tithes and offerings. That's part of the covenant. The covenant is an agreement. The covenant is an agreement really in blood. It's a blood in, blood out covenant. And one of the rules and one of the laws and commands of the covenant is that the tenth is his. And we are to use 10% of our increase. One as a testimony that he's increasing us. Preach more. As a testimony that he's faithful to us. Because if I have a dime, that means he gave me $1. Yes, it's a testimony. When I bring $10, somebody said, man, he put $10 in? Yeah. What's that mean? He must have 100. Oh, yes. And if I bring $1,000, you know where the moral is, right? Y'all done blessed me with 10,000. It's a testimony.
Morning, aviators.
But can you imagine?
3 hours ago, the jet.
Y'all blessing me with $10,000,
carrier,
and then I just bring $2 to support the work of the kingdom. Can you imagine that? What I'm telling people is, y'all only gave me $20. I'm a liar.
Your mission is to disrupt operations and control.
I'll be a liar no wonder. Like many of you watching the war. I can't do that. I'm not going to downplay what the Most High is doing in my life.
Destroy the carrier.
The tithes and the offerings. My tithes and offerings represent my testimony.
Better than the best.
How about you? Hit the like button. Support the work of the art. It's biblical. You can read it in the book. You can read it in the book of from Leviticus. Really, you can read it in Genesis, but you gotta have eyes to see it in Genesis. But you're gonna see the tithe mentioned in Abraham, with Abraham before the law. As he came to Melchizedek, that's in Genesis.
Then
we see it put into Torah. And then we see the blessings and the promises connected to it. I come online behind these cameras and lights. Most of you all know that this is how we do it full time now. Not even with a regular, what they call a church building and large congregation. No, be faithful.
You put on these damn planes and you put a fucking smartphone in your helmet. What kind of talk dumb shit is this?
No matter what.
People say they talk dumb, but ain't a damn plane
to support the work of the art. I know I've been telling y'all this. Hit the like button. Now you understand. Oh, well, why does he want the likes and the views? Because there's a lot of Israelites need to wake up. There's some companions. There's some companions to the house of Israel need to wake up to the truth.
The fuck was that?
Yes, there's some Gentiles that need to wake up to the truth.
Because shit is different.
Don't think that Yah is only calling us. Please don't think that. That's not scripture. No, we have evidence from Genesis to Revelation, from the mixed multitude, all the way down to what he calls the WILE branch. And this ministry is one that is reaching the entire world. Can you believe that? And it's because of your support. Be faithful. And we're going to continue to try to be faithful to the best of our ability. Hallelujah. 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 Now, thank you. I don't know if there's any administrators in the house, but we're going to need you today. We're going to need our administrators in the room. And those of you who don't have a blue shield, but you can type, you can help us with these verses. You can help us with these references. And welcome in the room to you also. Yes, you don't have to have a blue wrench to help with these words and verses. And once again, everybody hit that like button. I gotta show you something.
I'm right here, daughter. And I really
The king said, I read it, Bible. He said, look at the fig tree.
Hostiles now hold objective Alpha.
And many of you all have never even seen a fig tree. How is that possible?
Objective Delta is under
We're not supposed to walk in disobedience, is what I'm saying. If the king says, observe the fig tree, we need to observe it. Find one. The best way to do it, go to your local nursery, ask questions. Some of y'all got a fig tree in your backyard. Go look at it. Some of y'all got one around the corner. Get in the car and go drive. Say, let's go look up. Go look at the fig tree. No. The king said, behold the fig tree. We need to see that tree. Because by beholding the fig tree and all of the trees, which means really all of the fig trees are all trees that are like this, is what he's saying. You need to behold them, which means to look at them, because he wants to show you something about how it shoots forth, how it puts on, as we call it in the country. You need to see something. You need to see when they do it. Hit the like button. Because the fig tree in particular, but mostly all fruit trees, similar trees, they follow the same pattern. The fig tree, normally when you examine it, is just the first tree to do it. What is that? It's when they shoot forth. Interesting term, simply means when they're getting ready to fruit. We call it in the country when they're getting ready to put on. It starts to do a very interesting thing as it comes out of the winter. The fig tree is very interesting, and a very interesting tree in the fact that as it comes out of the winter and into the spring, the new shoots or the new limb of the fig tree begin to shoot forth from the branches. And if you walk by, you'll look up and you'll be like, oh, what is with this green coming out of all these brown branches? This new shoot, this new line, and you say, uh-oh, seasons are changing. Seasons are changing.
Likewise, when you see destruction and calamity,
And the fig tree in
all of that
particular,
is
he said, watch it, because the fig tree seems to wake up. Hit the like button. I said the fig tree seems, when it comes out of the winter, it seems to wake up first. It wakes up. And some of y'all don't believe the moral rate. You don't have to believe me. I grew up around fig trees. Boy, there's a big old fig tree. My neighbor had a fig tree so big, it covered almost a quarter of an acre just with the limbs. I grew up around fig tree my whole life. This ain't something I'm talking about because I read it in a book or Googled it or asked ChatGPT. I don't need none of that stuff to talk about no fig tree.
Bravo.
Google the Central Valley of California and see whether or not this was not the fig capital of the world. We grew more figs out here. Boy, I could see the fig tree. That's all I'm trying to tell y'all. That fig tree will put out limbs and then put out fruit. What? You heard me? It will put out limbs and then it would have little, I guess little what they call flowers, but for the people who don't know nothing about no fig trees, it would start fruiting before it even put on its leaves. No more way. I'm trying to tell you. Yes.
nigga trying to kill me.
The shoots would shoot out.
Nigga trying to
And
kill me.
then at the end of them, there'll be little knobs on the, and these little knobs, which are gonna eventually be the fruit, and then you will get these big leaves that will come. A fig leaf can get big, right? And they will come and cover everything. That's what you would get. So do you remember, trying to help the world today, do you remember the parable? No, it wasn't no parable. Woo-wee, it was not a parable. Do you remember the incident that happened when the disciples were having what they call a lack of faith? You remember that? In the Most High, they had went somewhere, went to sleep, got the next day, and our king was hungry. And he looked around and he saw a fig tree. And he approached the fig tree, hoping that he would find on that fig tree fruit to eat. But when he got to the fig tree, the Bible said that he found nothing but leaves. If anybody remembers that happening in the scripture, hit the like button. Let me look. I don't want to lose nobody. I don't want to go faster than nobody that's in the chat. Let me see if anybody is in the room. Hit the like button and I'll know. Yari said Vicky, Darren, I think it went so fast. Alon, Deidre, Yosef, okay, yeah. Y'all see it. You remember that parable. Then it said when he looked around and saw nothing but leaves, he cursed the fig tree. And he said, oh, so you gonna put on leaves and no fruit, huh? You just gonna have leaves, but ain't gonna have no fruit, is you? I put the issue part because I'm country. So you're going to sit up here with these big old leaves, acting like you got fruit, and know good and well you ain't got no fruit. But the fruit was supposed to be already present before the leaves came. But you put on leaves and ain't got no fruit. What's wrong with you? I'll tell you what, no. Since you want to be a hypocrite, since you want to act like you got fruit, but you ain't really nothing but a leaf, you want to act like you're being productive, but in reality, it's all just leaves. I tell you what, there will not ever be another fig grow on you ever in life. How about that? Trying to act like you got something full of leaves, and when the master needs something, you have nothing to give. Are you out your mind? The Bible is requiring from you and requiring from me fruit worthy of repentance. He is not requiring from us no leaves. Some of y'all whole life is just leaves.
Space in that sector now belongs to us.
All you worried about is how you look, how you appear, what people think. If they're coming to you to try to get anything, there's no substance, there's no fruit, there's no nutrition, there's no giving at all. It's all fake and phony. And some of y'all in this life, you are guilty of being all leaves and no fruit. Some of y'all can't get 10 cents out of $1 from some of y'all watching the moon, right? You leaves and no fruit. How you gonna help the household of the whole food? How you gonna help a hurting humanity and you all leave? How you gonna feed the hungry and you all leave? How you gonna take in the outcast and you just leave? How you gonna satisfy the soul and you just leave? Oh, we all talk. Now some of y'all wondering why you going through it, because you just all leaves. No, we gotta have fruit. Hit the like button. We're helping the house of Israel today. And we're helping millions of people around the world when you hit that like button and when you support the heart. Helping you see the world and the word of y'all like you ain't never seen it before. You haven't seen the Bible like this. First of all, because you have not had a preacher like this. Who are you? Don't worry about who I am. I keep telling y'all that.
For enemy incursions.
What makes you special, Moray? Don't worry about what makes me special. That is not your concern. Your concern is, who are you? You should really stop and think.
You got what I like.
Don't worry about who I already know what makes me special. That question don't have to be answered for me. That's for you to answer now. What makes you special? I'm going to tell you what makes you special. The blood of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob running through your veins. What makes you special? You're the house of Israel scattered to the four corners of the earth, fulfilling script. What makes you special? You are the people of Torah. You're the people of the Bible. You're the people of the book. You're the lost tribes that ain't really lost. You're being found. You're the sheep of his pasture. You're his covenant community. Yes. That's what you need to go back to. That's what you got to remember. What makes you special is that he's chosen you.
Cap response.
And to whom much is given, listen to this. To whom much is given, much is required. Yeah. So if he's chosen you, he's going to require something of you. Now, don't be one right here, all leaves and no fruit. Boy, you'll mess around more of you. You know what? This is not my sermon, so I'm not going to do that. Because if I go over there in my Bible, boy, we won't even get to my lesson. So I'm not going to do that. But you all can look at it in the scripture. The next day, they walked by that tree, and it was withered from the roots. What? Yes.
Old Alpha.
And when they asked questions to him, what in the world? He said, I don't know about that tree. You better have faith.
Bravo captured by hostiles.
How about that? Don't worry about that tree. It's over for that tree. You don't want it to be over for you. You read that book, he's going to tell you. He said, you better have faith. Yeah. And faith don't mean just mental belief or agreement. It means you better stay connected to Torah and produce fruit. Hit the like button. It'll be worse on you than it will be for this tree. No, Zion, I don't want it to be worse on me than it was for that fig tree. That's why he said, examine it. Let's look at the tree. The tree shoots forth. And that shooting forth is representation of the branches bringing the fruit, right? And he says, once that happens, you can tell time. Okay? Once that happens, you can see it. Those are things that you can literally see. That is shot forth branches. You can see the little pieces of fruit. And if you keep watching, it's going to put on them big old leaves. You automatically know summer's coming. Why? Because Yah put the clock in the plant. The plant is not operating. Talk more, Ray. I gotta fix something right now. The plant ain't working willy-nilly. The plant is not operating random. And I'm gonna get all you Israelites to stop doing this wickedness too. Talking about what's that word they always talking about? Everything came from the Big Bang. Everything is a result of random selection of nature. You're going to hell for that.
Batteries before the next salvo.
Ain't nothing random about Yah's creation. Don't you know that the whole world is imbalanced 100%? That ain't random. You do know that everything here is decent and in order. That's not random. The hair on your head versus your eyebrows is a difference. Why your hair protects your head from the sun, but your eyebrows protect your eyes from sweat. That's gonna run into your eye. That's design. That ain't random. And then you got a different kind of hair right above your eyelids. Right above your eye. Those are called eyelids. A whole different kind of hair. What does that do? Keep flicking dust away. Keep flicking particles away. And at the same time, opening and closing your eyelid so that your eyeball don't dry out. Nothing random. Nothing accidental. No, that ain't the way the world runs. The world was, we have a designer, his name is Yahuwah, he's a creator, right? I was sharing this not too long ago with a friend. I said, you do know, right? There ain't no evolution. We didn't evolve.
When I didn't see him, I was going to look back then.
No, that fig tree got a clock in it, and so does all the other plants. It was put in there by Yahweh. It moves according to his word and to his time and his season. Why you bring that out, Wolverine? I got to, because I want to talk to you. I got to talk to you Shabbat shifters. I need to talk to you feast day shifters. I need to talk to you Passover shifters. You Shavuot shifters. You do know, right? That week after, look, I've been woke now almost 17 years. You do know it don't take 17 years to figure out when Passover is, right? It don't take 17 years to figure out when the Feast of Trumpet is, when Shavuot is, when Sukkot is. No, you want to operate in wickedness and stupidity. Because we found it out. Like the first 3 years we woke up to the truth. We studied everything and we said, oh, man, we all you gotta do, man, these things line up is like this. And we watch when the fruit opens, when the seeds open. Why? Because they're on a time clock too.
Going down.
Man, somebody write me a letter that was longer than my arm, and I didn't read it. If I read 3 lines and it's stupid, I ain't read no more. So just understand that. And they all start off the same. Glory, what I'm getting ready to share with you is all based on scripture. Click them.
That was a missed opportunity.
Y'all wrong by 6 months. No, you're going to hell for that. Me, y'all 3 months off. You're going to hell for that too.
We feel like we need to bring that SK.
I don't know what a fig tree is.
Look, he brought his out. I told you I
grew up around fig trees. I know what summer is. I know when the harvest is. I know when the grapes are ready. I know when the wine is ready. Moray, what? I know when the wheat is ready. I know when barley is ready. So you can't tell me when a bib is, and I'm living in a bib. You do know a bib have to do with the head of grain, right? You can't tell me when the head of grain is, and I'm looking at the grain. Every year we gotta take a picture of a piece of wheat and a piece of barley in order to wait to show the people. Look, you guys, this is what time it is. Man, we tired of that. We just want to get out the stupidity. Y'all put the time in the plants. Then he put the time in the weather. You can feel it. Then he put the time in the stars. Then he put the time in the moon. Then he put the time in the stars, moon, and sun. He said, look, y'all ain't gonna have no reason not to be able to tell what time it is. How about you go outside and look?
Nigga supposed to have some boats for the men. Different strategies.
And our king is about to come back.
Put some damn strategies for the
no, we're not gonna be holding this in the dead of winter.
What is this nigga doing? Nigga, let me get in.
No, we're not gonna be having Passover in the very middle of the summer. Stop it.
This is the Russian shit. This shit is shit. Big damn blue about the same thing. He get on me out there.
It's out here right now. Oh, of course it is. Why? Because it's summer.
Feeling up.
Like, support this work. Some of y'all should already, you know what, some of y'all should do this right now. Let me just go and send my tithe, my offering to the ark. Hey, ain't nobody teaching the word like this. Nobody preaching it like this with no fear.
Burst fire on that, yo.
Phone call from the pig. You going too far and all that. No, we don't do that here. We're free.
Fire on that, yo. Whoa!
We don't have handlers.
Fire on that, yo.
We're free. We don't have no deacon bowl, no mother bowl.
Let's go to work.
We have no trustee bowl telling us what to do. Folks who don't even know the Bible. We ain't got to obey no choir director because we're afraid that if we say something make the choir director mad, he gonna leave. And if he leaves, the choir gonna sound terrible and people gonna stop coming to church. So we got to now keep the choir and the musicians happy. No, don't give a damn about none of that. Not at the Awakening Remnant Coalition. No, we stand on his word. The best we know how. And you should support a work like this because we don't get money from gambling casinos. gonna get money from running so-called quote-unquote ads and things like that. Now I don't know what YouTube do, but I don't get anything. What we get is from you, those that are being blessed. You're learning on this holy Shabbat. And we take what comes in and we distribute the money. And we pay all of our bills and we do the work. That's how it works. Excuse me, let me continue. I had to bring that fig tree out to show it to you. To show it to you. You need to see it. Because there's a time in there. What does the king say? And when they now shoot you see and know of your own selves what? That summer is now nigh at hand. If y'all saw it, hit the like button. You see, you know what summer is. Just watch the trees.
Look at shit. They did shit. They done blunted that shit. Boy, this shit, boy, is going down.
You know something. I want you to say something. I want you to hear me.
Look at that motherfucker.
On this holy Shabbat. This idea that we are not looking.
Look at that motherfucker.
That we are some kind of way not supposed to be looking to try to understand the signs of the time. That is a satanic teaching.
That's right.
It's exactly opposite of what the king tells us to do. The king tells us, man, you better be paying attention to what's going on. Why?
When you're 6.
Verse 31. So likewise, when you see these things come to pass, what? Everything he's been preaching ever since chapter 21, which is everything.
Trying to hit him.
The kingdoms against kingdom, false Christ rising up, wars and rumors of war. Or I should say false messiahs who call themselves Christ. Our people being thrown into prison. Our people being persecuted, and it goes on and on. The Roman Empire destroying our city. Us going into captivity. We falling by the edge of the sword. Signs in the sun and the moon. Earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which come upon the earth. The powers of heaven shall be shaken. He said, man, when you see all this stuff happening, man, you're supposed to be looking. Gave you a parable. He said, look at the fig tree. You watch the fig tree because you want some figs.
Big steppers.
You need to be there watching the signs of the time because if just like you know the figs are coming, the news for you. When you see these things happening, our king is coming. Hit the like button. When you see all this happening, our king is coming back.
Oh, they came over there. They seen it. They seen the nigga coming in.
Yeah. So likewise, when you see these things come to pass, you know
we don't need no light.
that the kingdom of Yah is nigh at hand. And I want to talk to you naysayers. Man, we've been hearing that talk my whole life. We read about you in the book of 2nd Kepha or 2nd Peter. We read about you. You will be put in the category of a scoffer. And all of you scoffers, you in trouble. Talking about where is the promise of the return? Keep on talking like that. Keep on. Keep on. You ain't the first person that did that, and you won't be the last person to do that. You do know that going to hell is still possible for you, right?
Not everybody got SKS out. Nigga, everybody want to run around with the SKS out. This bit.
Over 100.
The graphics on this film,
Building a long dry lane. Somebody's gonna rain. Man, how is it gonna rain, Reginald?
Trying to stay around.
Making fun of Noah and his family and all that. I don't care about the scoffers. Y'all have always been around. You didn't think we was gonna get out of Egypt, but we did. You thought Daniel and Jeremiah was lying when they said we're gonna leave Babylon without fighting, and we did. You scoffed at our king when he told you that he was gonna rise after you crucified him, that he would rise again the third day. You scoffers have always been around, and I got news for you.
What y'all get, bro?
I traveled to the place where they laid him, and where the stone, according to the Bible, was rolled in front of the tomb. Yeah, I went. You mean more, right? Yeah, I got on an airplane. I flew over there. Boy, they kept taking us here and driving us here and going here, going there. Well, they didn't have no idea. I said, no, I got a place I got to see. Y'all want to take me everywhere. I ain't got no problem. We can go look at anything out here. But there's one place I got to go see. Show me where you laid him, you heathen. You Roman Empire, you European occupiers, you know exactly where you put it. I need to see Joseph's new tomb. And don't act like you don't know where it is. Because you sent your soldiers to set a watch around the tomb. Don't act like you didn't. It's recorded that there was a centurion, so most likely you had 100 or more people there. Don't act like you don't know where you laid him. Show it to me. Show it to the Moray. What you want to see so bad? I want to see. I just want to make sure. Why I just want to see for myself.
George Lee!
So I leave saying the same thing that the disciples and Miriam them said when they said, he's not here.
Nigga got his fucking ATM counter.
No. He has risen from the dead. Watch. Just like he said. I don't care about naysayers. Y'all been around forever. You a scoffer. Scoffers going to hell. You scoff all you want. That tomb is empty. I promise you that.
Oh my God.
That tomb is empty. An empty grave is what we have left.
That's hilarious.
You naysayers. No, I don't believe it. It don't matter what you believe. I don't care. I gotta teach you the truth. The kingdom is coming. They didn't believe it was that he was gonna come the first time. He did. They didn't believe that he would get up from the dead. He did. They didn't believe that he would exalt himself back into glory to the right hand of the power on high, and he did.
They didn't
believe that we would be scattered through the slave trade, but we were. They didn't believe that Jerusalem would be destroyed by the very Roman Empire that our people were sold out to. But they did. They didn't believe that them slave ships of Deuteronomy were going to come to pass in their lifetime, but it did. They didn't believe in the 400-year captivity, but it happened. And they also didn't believe that Yah would wave his hand a second time to recover the house of Israel in the land where they're captive. But he waved his hand. How you know, Moray? Because he waved it out here in California, that's why. He waved it in the country. He waved it out in the field. Where I was. That's all I'm saying. How much further can you get from to the four corners of the earth? From all the way in Jerusalem to the west coast of the Americas. You go any further, we're going to be in the water. It's water right on the other side. He waved his hand to the Bible said the ends of the earth. Yeah, and I'm one that he woke up. I'm one that he turned around. I'm one that he opened my eyes. I'm one that he showed me the truth of who I am and whose I am. Became a Hebrew scholar for the house of Israel and a seer to stand on the wall and declare the message that our king is alive. He's not dead. He is not some European. His skin ain't pink, his eyes ain't blue, and his hair is not blonde.
Put that shit on again.
Our king come down to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He come from the tribe of Yehuda. That even the heathens have to admit is what they call an Afro. That's Africa. Asiatic, that's Asia, which means East. Put it together, he's an East African.
Put that laser move on that bit.
He's not a European. Hit the like button. Let me get out the room. Are y'all gonna hit the like button with the room, or do I gotta be in here and be preaching all by myself? No, this is the Holy Shabbat.
Oh, that bitch here.
Abaya is in his holy temple. Abaya is among us.
That bitch here. Get on the ground.
I can get Yahoo watching the movie to magnify Yahuwah with me and let us exalt his name together. Let the redeemed of Yahuwah say so.
Oh boy, no, I'm out of bullets already. That's down, boy.
Is now nigh at hand.
You back.
The kingdom of Yah
They shooting at me. They thought they man, shoot that goddamn man.
is at hand.
I'm rather that
Was
big
that me, Maureen?
How about that bitch and give me?
It's me. Everything that was prophesied concerning the time of the return of our King has been fulfilled.
2 bullets with this jump.
We are now moving into the transition
Look like a
time.
nigga work. They got a damn
For the beasts of the world
and then they be straight, but
and the
niggas don't be
kingdoms that have
dropping
become
them.
empires of Hasatan, which are iron mixed with clay. It now falls. Why, that last horn, that's the worst of all, is destroyed. Babylon. Babylon
Seeing a flashlight.
is
I'm trying
fallen.
to get
Is
you a
fallen.
free flashlight.
The beast, the false prophet, and the dragon must now keep their appointment with death, hell, and destruction, where in a few more risings and settings of the sun, why they will all be gathered
You hear that? Click, huh?
into the lake of fire that burneth with fire and brimstone forever. You better know what time it is.
Dog, this Joey.
He says, you better know that the kingdom is at hand. Verily, verily, I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. What generation? The generation that lives to see the final fulfillment of everything in Matthew 24 and in Luke 21. If you live on the other side of that, which is where we are, this generation is not going to pass until this stuff be fulfilled. It's going to happen.
They just keep bullshitting on purpose because they scared this joke will be
And I hear you talking to the naysayers.
Call of Duty mad, so they still talking.
I've been hearing that a whole lot. You know what? That's your problem. I'm talking to the remnant. Hey, all y'all in the remnant just woke up to the truth.
It is that one with the seed sauger. That nigga with that seed sauger.
Don't do it. Don't let these non-Bible readers and non-Bible, don't let these campuses in jail either. They all work for the Blue They all work for the Masonic lodges. They all part of secret society. They all got brotherhood. They Kappa-lapping apples and all that kind of stuff. Don't listen to them people.
Yeah, you better not let me
do what you want, but following them, you're gonna go to hell.
He did that with that
Messiah's a bastard. And he can't save nobody. You better try to save yourself and all that.
What is that?
Come here. Man, boy, y'all some disobedient Israelites. I'm trying to get you to see the book. Verse 33 says, heaven and the earth shall pass away, but my words. Did you see heaven and earth? Heaven and earth will be gone. Which then includes what? Your preacher who don't know the Bible. He'll be dead and gone. Your camp leader that's going to hell for not knowing scripture and blaspheming against our king. He'll be dead too. These so-called preachers and pastors I love, these religious institutions, these secret societies, all of them be dead. All these books, all these false religions, all this Judaism that have rejected our king and say he boiling in excrement in the Talmud. All of them going to hell. Man, let me tell you something. Anybody speaking again, he said, look, everybody gonna be dead. But I tell you what ain't gonna die. I tell you what ain't going nowhere. What's that? My word. Hit the like button.
I wonder what the single part is.
What do you think about Islam? I don't think nothing about it.
Oh, bro, I'm about to dump
Ain't nobody gonna set no man above my king. Talking about Muhammad is his prophet greater than Messiah? Man, Messiah say anybody come after me is a thief and a robber. The house of Israel. I think we had to wait 600 years after the ascent of our Savior to the right hand of power to get an Arabian married to a Catholic that will do all manner of wickedness in his old age, laying down with little girls that he ought not do. You think that man is greater than our Messiah?
I ain't never been there.
You better do your research and find out the age. The age of his last wife. Before you come to my channel talking about what do you think about Islam? I don't think nothing. The Quran will be gone. But this book right here will still be standing. The like button. The Talmud will be gone. This word will still be here. The Book of the Dead will be gone.
That's my fault.
I don't know what else y'all into. Buddhism and Bhagavad-Vedas and whatever that. All them books will be gone. That's why I spend most of my time, 99% of my time is right here. I'm going to stick with what's going to stand. And my word's not going to pass away. Now, shalom all you in the chat. Shalom you around the world and watching the rebroadcast. Everybody hit the like button. Every single person. Yeah. Let the world understand something. This Bible. Verse 34. Say heed to yourself. Less than any time.
Copy. On our way.
What? Your hearts keep overcharged. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah,
I just told you what's going to happen in the world.
white people shit, nigga.
I just told you what's going down chronologically. I just told you how the world's going to end.
Boy, that thing, boy.
And I told you what to look for. But unfortunately, some of y'all,
Much puppy on that bitch. Much puppy.
you're not going to care, and you're going to
Much puppy out there, bitch.
not only not watch what's going on in the world, but you're not going to watch yourself.
Yeah, boy.
We spent a whole week or two just on that one subject of watching or taking heed to yourself during this time. During what time? During the time of the end. During the time where we are preparing to receive our King. During that time, we got instructions. What was that? Take heed. That means watch yourself. There's at any time. What? You find yourself overindulging.
Nigga, animantium on that bitch. Nigga, get him with the animantium.
Yeah, breaking Torah. What's overindulging? Consuming too much. And that means consuming anything too much.
3 hours ago, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force
Even food. And I know here in the Americas, all of us are dealing with this overweight thing. We better stop that.
defended by an advanced surface-to-air missile system.
That word surfeiting literally means overindulging.
Fighters. Your mission is to control the
Overindulging in
combat
everything, so much so that we're so caught up with getting more and more and more of stuff,
when the
right?
target is vulnerable.
That we have less and less and less of Him, less and less and less of the Word, less commitment to Torah, less commitment to prayer and study,
That thing lit.
less commitment to the covenant. Why? We're so busy
It's gonna hit, dog.
chasing the most stuff. He said, don't let that happen to you. Not in the last days. Number two, he said, and drunkenness.
Nah, man, they supposed to have that
Because that's happening. Our people are high. Everybody loaded.
Damn, airport carrier.
Every time I bring this subject up, people get mad. I said, damn.
And they ain't let
I
nobody
know that many people in the world, man. Your whole life is getting loaded. The idea I even bring up drunkenness, well, people in the chat got quiet. I said, is everybody drunk?
Nigga, dog, it's supposed to be jet for
I told
everybody.
everybody about smoking dope, and I'm not talking about your medical reasons right now. I'm talking about just getting high.
Now you got niggas fucking
You know damn well the Bible said we supposed to be
What kind of
sober.
shit is this, bro?
And then you got people doing all manner of
They just
drugs.
kill themselves.
Whether you call them legal or illegal, it don't matter. The Bible said stop that drunkenness.
Look at the
When
MC.
does it become drunk, Moray? Whenever something has altered your normal behavior. Whenever something changes your behavior from following Abaya and the Torah to cause you to what they call in the country act out. That means act outside yourself. That means a different person. That means you one way this way. But then when there's alcohol, when there's drugs, when there's weed, when there's crack, cocaine, whatever you do in the world, whatever you do, all of a sudden now it's controlling you and you're not controlling it, then you're in trouble. The king said, don't do that in the last days. I'm about to come back. And don't misunderstand my words. Everybody gets a knee-jerk reaction when I speak like this. Stop doing that. That is a trigger that somebody put in your mind against the Torah. Don't do that when I'm preaching. I already know you can drink wine. I already know you can take medicine. So don't do that to me. I'm not stupid. I'm an elephant. Not only am I educated, not only do I have a doctorate, not only have I given my life to this, and I'm a scholar, but I'm a biblical scholar. So we're not dealing with no third grade reading, pig meat eating preacher that don't know the Bible, that's just up in front of people because he got the gift of gab. Don't put me in that category. I'm already way past that. I'm trying to share with you what our King has said about overdoing it, that's surfeiting. Drunkenness, that's allowing another spirit to come in and control you and move you. And the cares of this life. Oh, I need to say this too. How you drinking and that paying your tithes?
Yeah, how we drinking?
It's an alcohol. It's a bottle
no time.
more important to you than the kingdom. You're not giving y'all 10%, but you got a dime bag. What the hell is wrong with you? You fighting, make sure you go get the dime bag, but won't give him a dime. Ain't that something? What's wrong with us? How does that even happen to where we will look at alcohol and drugs and say, I'm going to secure that? But what about the tithe and the offering? Oh, man, forget the kingdom. I'm trying to deal with what I'm trying to deal with. Oh, okay. I know where you are then. How about this? When you see the king, boy, the king is... Look, this is where I'm going in this message. Believe it or not, I'm working my way to a conclusion right now. The king is coming back. What you're not going to be able to say, I promise you, what you're not going to be able to say in the judgment is, King Yahushua. He said, yes. You ain't going to be able to say this. Nobody told me. If somebody would have told me that I was not supposed to overdo it, I wouldn't have overdone it. If somebody would have told me that I was not supposed to be drunk, I wouldn't have gotten drunk. If somebody would have told me that I wasn't supposed to be getting high and loaded and out of my mind, I was supposed to be focusing on the Torah, I would have not done it. That's what you ain't going to be able to say in the judgment. I promise you that. Because they going to because glory, heaven, maybe the angels will reel back this message. I said, no, I have a seer down there. And I told him to show it to you. And he did. So you just, disobedient. Boy, and you don't want to hear them words. Now, what I don't want to hear is you wicked servant. I don't want to hear them words. I don't want to hear them worker, depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I don't want to hear them words ever come my way. I'm going to always try to be that servant who realizes that even at my best, I still have to understand I'm unprofitable. Yeah, what does that mean? That you stay trying to improve, trying to be better, trying to work at it. I have not arrived. Just like Shaul said, I'm pressing. That's Paul, for those of you who don't know his Hebrew
They
name.
don't got no mics
He
on
said,
this.
man, I'm not acting like I've already attained it.
You don't talk
I'm
and
pressing. What does that mean? Every day.
You just lame as fuck.
I'm trying to do better.
Wonder why nobody was.
All right. Hit the like button. I don't like what you did. I didn't say whether you liked what I said. I said hit the like button. I can hear some of y'all say, I don't like you. That's your problem. Hit the like button. Because y'all don't have no idea. If I didn't love you, first of all, I have to love him. I love him. And then love you, I wouldn't be getting behind these cameras and lights like this. And I know some of y'all say, then what would you do? Don't never mind that part. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't love in my heart. Yes, I want to see you better. I want you to make it. I do. I want you to be better. I want your life to be better. I want you to walk in the promises of our covenant. Why? Because the blood of Hamashiach secured those promises eternally for you. You can now, in the covenant, claim all the positive sides of the covenant. So if he tells you not to do something, stop. Number 3. Where are we at on time? Okay, good. Where we at on time is right here. Watch. And the cares of this life. What is that? Anxiety. So number 1, overdoing it, stop. Getting loaded and drawn. putting that before the king, letting that alter your mind and your lifestyle. Stop it. He said, when you see the king about to come back, stop that. And number 3, stop all that worry. Stop all that anxiety. The cares of this life. The cares of this life have a way of moving your mind away from the Torah, away from his promises. And while we are in the world, we have to remember we're not of this world. We have to keep that in our mind, which means what's coming down on the earth right now through the collapse of these governments, the collapse of the monetary systems, which is, I don't know how they're going to fix that, the collapse of these imperial powers, which we see that in these never-ending wars and all that kind of stuff, right? The one thing he tells us is that's their business. That's not really your business. You can't get so overly concerned with the cares of this world that all of a sudden your cares place you in a position of paralysis. You never want to be in paralysis. You never want to become paralyzed so that you are no longer moving according to his command. Why? Because you're too occupied with the cares of the life, of this life. You're too occupied. You care too much about stuff that's temporary. Your concern about the cares of this life have become, they've become concerning. You too worried. You have become obsessed with the cares of this life. The cares of this life cannot be your obsession. And some of us, we left off talking about this the other week when I mentioned about even working, which is a positive thing in Scripture, right? All of us are supposed to work. But even the Most High said 6 days. 6 days. Go and do your work for 6 days. But you can't become a workaholic. At one 24-hour period, you're going to stop that. Why? So you can be reminded that you're not a slave, and so that work won't become the cares of this life. You're not becoming overly occupied with it to where we can't even have a day where we come together and give our praise without you worrying about how much money you losing, how many clients you missing. No. We're going to stop all that in the house of Israel. I was talking to some of my brethren not too long ago. I tell them this, so I ain't saying nothing to them, to y'all. I don't tell them. So don't think that I'm like this. Everybody who will hang out with them already know I do my best to be the same. Matter of fact, I might be a little worse in person than I am online. But I try my best to be the same when I'm teaching online. I try to live it every single day, and I talk about it among my brethren and the sisterin. What's that, Maury? I tell everybody, listen, that Shabbat ain't no 12 hours. That Shabbat is a 24-hour period. We get 7 24-hour periods called days. One of those 7 days, which is a 24-hour period, is his. The Shabbat is not our Shabbat. The Shabbat is his Shabbat. He didn't make us for the Shabbat. He made the Shabbat for us. To give us 24 hours. Why? We need it. I was talking to some Israelites about this, and they were saying, we only keep the Shabbat during the day. I said, where the hell you get that from? Hostile machine gun. Where you get that from? So what are we going to do? We're gonna measure the Shabbat by daylight? So what happens when the sun don't come up until, say, like, 8 o'clock and it go down at 4? So now he only gets 6 hours? 7 hours? No, he gets 24 hours. When that sun starts to set on that sixth day, which is called even. We drop that shovel, we drop that rake, we hit that button. That's if you, I understand we're in Babylon. Some of y'all, I get it. Don't write me about what happened if I'm stuck in it. I get it. But those of us who can, well, we check out. They tell you, oh yeah, if you're gonna reach the moon rate, you better do it before the sun go down. And look, I don't need you blue wrenches and you and my staff right now making no crazy comments, because I already know what y'all gonna say. Yeah, you ain't lying. You mess around and turn the phone completely off. We be thinking he dead over there. And no, I'm on live. Ring, 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 ring. Boy, if it go too long, boy, they start texting me. You okay? You all right? I be like, and then I have to come back and be like, yeah, I'm good. Well, oh, I'm just checking on you. Check the time. Is it the Shabbat? Because most likely, my hands are raised in prayer. Giving up on y'all glory. I'm studying. I'm praying. I'm worshiping. Y'all have no idea how. But see, I knew one of you Blue Shield was gonna say something. Look, it's true though. And sometimes I just go hang out with them. Go hang out with people. Why? Because we gotta recuperate 24 hours. If you don't start making those moves, you're not going to be prepared to meet the king, because he's telling you, don't get overly involved in the cares of this world. This beast don't really run the world. I know you think they do, but they really don't. It's still my Father's world. So let me go further. Another way we get caught up in the cares of this life, listen, buying and selling. Look. It's a time for everything. But there's a time when you can't chill. There's a time when you can be like, you know what, how about this? For a while, I'm not going to buy anything. What else? For a while, I'm not going to sell anything. What are you going to do? I think I'm just going to enjoy some of the things that the Most High has already given me. I think instead of me constantly in the hustle, I think if I have a boat, I'm gonna go ride it. I'm not gonna get so caught up in this world. I got a bicycle that's been sitting in the garage. They got so many spider webs, cobwebs all over it, chain done rusted. Boy, I've been saying I need a bike, and now it's in the garage, and I won't even take out a moment to just go ride. Why? You caught up in the cares of this life so much. Can't breathe. Can't think. Can't go sit down on a rock and watch the waves. You can't sit down behind next to a meandering stream. You cannot just relax by a babbling brook. It's too caught up. You can't be still long enough to hear him speak to your heart, to give you insight to the word of Yah. So are you saying that we living so bad today that we can't do what our grandpa did? My grandpa said Yah was his shepherd, so he wasn't worried about being diminished. He said, so what he does, he make me lay down in green pastures. He's the one who will lead me beside still waters. He restore my soul. What does that mean? I'm not so caught up in the care of this life because I have a shepherd. This is what the Messiah tells his disciples. Why are you acting like Gentiles? They don't have a father like you guys do. The things that you are after that's pulling your heart, these are the things that the Gentiles see. But you have a father. And when you act like you don't, it's insulting. When you act like you don't have a father, who cares? I gotta get out of the room now. When you try to act like you got a father who's not watching over you, who's not preparing the table before you, and you know he ain't. In the presence of your enemies, and you eating every day with people hating you every time you take a bite. but you're still taking a bite.
All right, though.
Stop acting like that.
Still coming there buzzing.
He's anointing you, you know. Some of your cup is running over, and you know it. So you don't have to be, don't caught up in the world. So caught up in working and buying and selling and building and planning and making money and paying bills and pursuing your so-called profession so much that it becomes more important than the kingdom. So that, unfortunately, the temporary will begin to mean more to you than the eternal. Say it again, more right. I said, the king is telling us, don't get so caught up in the cares of this life so that the temporary become more important than the eternal. Hit the light. This does not mean not taking care of responsibilities. This means overdoing it. So much so that you rule him out. That the word has no room and no place in your life now. Why? Because your responsibility, you can't obey him now. Oh, really? No, Zion, we're not doing that. Hit the like button. We're going to keep the word of Yah. We're going to stand true on his word all the way to the kingdom. Man, we're so close. I have something I'm going to bring up this week. I saved a couple of things I got in store for y'all this week. I'm going to show you some stuff about how close we really are. Okay. If you get caught up in this world, in the who shot John, in the gossip, who dating who like a hoe, who breaking up with who doing this, who hoeing, who not hoeing, who whoremongering, who pimping, who slinging drugs, who da, and your world is on that phone and on that computer and in gossip and celebrity this and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you what it'll do. You mess around and get spiritual amnesia. You will mess around. What do you call it when you is it an anesthetic? Is that the word? What is the word? Yeah, when you get ready to go somewhere and they shoot you up so that you can't feel nothing. If you I'm thinking that's the word, right? And they put you under. Right? This world will do that.
Oh, exactly.
Cares of this life.
The final song.
And you will no longer be aware of your spiritual surroundings. If you get caught up in that, you will no longer be aware of the fact that your heart is drifting from him. That your mind is going against the channel. That your life and your actions are not becoming of awakened Israelite. Who is supposed to be the light of the world and the salt of the earth. So we are warned by the king. You know about the command. Don't get caught up in overdoing it, surfing. Don't get caught up in getting high and drunkenness. And don't get caught up in the cares of this life, which will actually cause you to become sleep spiritually. Why? Because we're supposed to be the awakening remnant. We're not supposed to be the sleeping remnant. Don't be asleep. What do you mean, Ma, right? Wake up. Hit the like button. Wake up. What is the point of you knowing that you're Israel, but you still sleep? You've allowed the cares of this life to become some kind of anesthetic. You allowed the world to sort of put you under. No, you better wake up. Yes, I've been studying the Bible a long time. But what would be the point of knowing the prophecies of Daniel? But I'm asleep to the prophecies of Daniel.
Morning, aviators.
Morning,
What was the point of saying I read the book of Revelation, but my life I'm sleeping?
Everybody out here, man.
I know the prophecies, but I'm dead to them. I know the signs, but I'm under so much care where I can't care about what I'm doing.
That airspace.
No. That's why the Bible says
Stand ready to deploy and secure
that we're supposed to have
our force deliver the assault on the carrier.
Don't let this society shoot you with no needle, so that you become unaware of your surroundings and unaware of what time it is and unaware of your king and disobedient. Don't let this world do that to you. You better watch yourself, because it's not hard to do. It's not hard to become callous toward our Messiah. It's not difficult to fall into a drunken stupor. It's not difficult to get caught up in the affairs of this life so much that you are no longer concerned about the affairs of the kingdom. That's why we're told to that's why we are told to guard our heart. Because it's possible. I'm going to say a few things that's going to bother some people again. Because every time I mention this, it always touches your God. And this is what I'm supposed to do. I got to get rid of, I'm trying my best to help you get rid of your gods, little g-s. You got to get rid of your little gods. You can't go to heaven with false gods. That's the very first commandment. Yahuwah brought us out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. We shall have no other Elohim before him. Because every Elohim that you put in front of Yah is going to try to keep you asleep, to keep you numb, to keep you blind, to keep you deaf, keep you immobile, to keep you paralyzed. So first God you got to get rid of is the God of money. And please stop misquoting the Bible. The Bible does not say money is the root of all evil. The Bible says for the love of money. And the idea of love in Hebrew is not how I feel. It's my attachment to it. Remember, ahava means you're turning your power and attention to the house, right? Which, of course, in Israel, it's Yah, his as our Elohim. He loves us because he has turned his face toward the house of Israel, right? And we have turned our face toward his covenant and toward him. So that's ahava between us. He said, you don't have ahava toward money. Once you start developing ahava toward money, you're going to find that it will become the root. That means the foundation of a bunch of evil stuff. Because ahava is supposed to be set apart for Yah alone. Which means what? That I don't love money. What do? I use money. Money don't use me. I use money. Money don't tell me what to do. I gotta tell money what to do. Because if I let money tell me what to do, money gonna tell me not to pay tithes. Money's gonna tell me not to support the ministries. Money's gonna tell me I can't afford to feed the hungry, clothe the naked. Money, if money become my boss, I can't help a student get through college. If money is telling me what to do, I cannot put clothes on someone who's naked. I cannot feed the hungry and all that, because money gonna say, hey, don't do that. You're gonna need it for yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So you know what I do with money, and people around me will tell you, boy, it ain't lying. I be telling money, you ain't my damn boss. You're my slave. I put it to work. I learned that lesson a long time ago. I put it to work.
Man, they got that big ass tank, nigga. And
I gotta get the
nobody
word
gonna
out
be
over the airway.
Here is kind of like.
How much is the camera? I don't give a damn. Find me a camera that I can talk and preach the gospel and the message of our King to the world, and then we'll worry about the rest later. How about that? Movie, do you really move like that? I wish you knew.
The javelin, that javelin and
I wish you
shit.
knew.
I do like this stuff, that stuff, but it don't do nothing.
We start going traveling. Man, gas is hot. Pump the gas. So you think I'm gonna let money stop me from doing meetups? Money don't dictate my life. Well, gas is $5 a gallon. If y'all tell me to go drive somewhere and do a meetup with his people, I don't give a dang if the gas is $20 a gallon. We're filling it up and we're going to talk. Why? Because he said, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. He said, then everything else will come back. But if I'm seeking first money is running my life, then I'm going to come with a reason to never do nothing for the kingdom, because money going to always tell me, let me be your God. Don't spend me. Don't get rid of me, because you'll never get no more. And he's a liar. Money is like water.
Like water.
That's why they call it currency. You're not ready for that level of preaching, and I get it. It's okay. Just listen to it, though. Just let it sink in to your heart. It does come back. Matter of fact, don't do it more. But I gotta tell you what the king said. He said it'll come back good measure. It'll come back pressed down, shaking together. It'll come back running over. So if you obey him, and he's the one in control of everything, then we don't argue when it comes between paying tithes or not, because the Most High said do that. That's not an argument for me. And when people are struggling with it, I understand. Most of the time, you in life over your head. You in debt, you over your head, and you can't even imagine doing that. That's not my fault. That's your fault, and that's your mama and daddy's fault for not teaching you that Abba Yah comes first in your life. You should have started giving Abba Yah 1/10 in the tithes and offering when you was 2 years old. It should be so second nature to you.
Second nature in this
Yeah, every single time, man. Uncle gave you $100. You should have took 10 and say, "Oh, by the way, this is for the kingdom." Why? I grew up doing this. You sure? What do you mean I'm not sure? I don't know nothing else. So I understand it's difficult now when you're grown. Nobody ever taught you that. Money's been your God your whole life. You better get rid of that God. Turn that God into a slave. You know what? I can't do it. I gotta go out the room. But you all should actually, those of you who don't believe what I'm saying, you should really watch the people who understand the game. You should watch them. I ain't talking about these Negroes in the streets. I'm not talking about thugs and roll all that. No, I'm just talking about normal people who understand that this is a game. You know what they tell you? This is what they use this term. They say, I don't have my money sitting. They use those terms. I'm talking about real people who operate in finances. I don't want my money to sit. It's exactly the opposite for me and you who use money as a god, or have money as a god, right? Where we say we want our money to pile up. See, in our brain, pile it up, right? In their mind, they're like, I don't want it to sit for one day. Why? Because they understand something. This is a slave. I need this to be working for me to make more, not to be sitting up in somewhere losing value. I ain't going no further with that, but I told you I was gonna make you mad. I told you I was gonna irritate you. I did it on purpose. Why? I don't worry about no phone call after I'm finished. Ain't no pastor calling me. Ain't no deacon talking about I'm gonna lose my job and he don't like this teaching. Ain't no trustee board finna call me into no office to talk to me about stepping on somebody's toes. No, not the Awakening Remnant. We gotta wake up the house of Israel. Don't let money get you to sleep and have you miss the kingdom.
Explosive set! Watch your step!
And I can just say the same thing. I'm just not going to do it. Don't do that with pleasure. Don't do that with entertainment. Don't do it with problems in your life. Nothing. Cares of this life? No. Why? Because if you do, the day of his return is going to catch you unaware. What a terrible place to be. But, Marie, can you imagine in verse 34 that the day of judgment come upon you and you're not ready? Can you imagine the day of judgment? Verse 34, I'm still in the Bible. Come upon you and you're not aware of it. Oh, wait. I'm gonna get it right. I gotta get it right. Hold on, too late, bud. It's too late. See, once the rain starts to fall, and the flood waters start to rise, and once Yah shuts the door to the ark, I'm talking symbolic of the ark of safety that Noah built. It's too late. But they had time to get it right. Why? Because he was preaching. How long? Over 100 years. He had time. And the Most High is telling us, you got time to get right now. How? Because I showed you the signs. I showed you what to look for. I told you it will be as clear as the very shoots of a fig tree. It will be unmistakably clear of when the last days are and when my kingdom is coming back. So therefore, there will be no excuse for you not to be ready. No, that day cannot take us unaware. Zion, I gotta get out the room, but I must quickly share this point with you. He says, therefore, watch. He said, for a snare shall come upon all of them that dwell on the face of the earth. That means it's a trap. We talked about that already. God is dragging the world into judgment. Verse 36, he says, and I'm for sure working my way out the room now. He said, watch. Hit the like button. It's very interesting because the Greek word for watch there does not actually tell us what the king is saying. Remember, the Greeks don't know the Bible. They don't know our people. They don't know our history. Greeks didn't even show up on the scene of our scripture until we get into the Maccabees. Right? So they don't know the Bible. They don't know history. They don't know the law. They don't know the prophets. So when they translate words, they're just trying to translate out of Hebrew. Okay? So they don't really know our words. So they have a word that just means to stay awoke when it says watch. And that makes sense. But it's not the word that the Hebrew is using. The Hebrew scriptures doesn't tell us to simply watch or to look. I gave you an illustration about that with the sheep in the corral, right? But it's even further than that. It takes it one step farther for us, and that is the word shakwa. That word means to be a watchman. The like button. He's telling everybody listening to him, which at this point is his disciples, he's saying, you must be a watchman. Huh? Yes. What does that mean? You not only have to wake up, you gotta stay woke. And when you're woke, you have a job. And that job is to watch attentively for everything that's going on. Because you're going to be the first to see it. Glory, what? Yes, you Hebrew Israelites, y'all the first to see it. You know that, right? You gotta, okay, once again, think about the fig tree amongst the other trees. The fig tree is the first tree that puts out the shoots, and it's the first tree to actually start to show fruit. It's the first one, right? When Yah waved his hand a second time to recover the house of Israel, we were the first people to see it. All your cousins, they still in church. Your uncles, your aunties, your family, they can't see it, but you can see it because you're first. You're the first ones that started looking at him and, well, hold on, man, we Israel? Can nobody see it, but you could. And now you can't understand how they can't see it. And he tells you to see it. Watch. You are the one who looked and said, you're supposed to be keeping Shabbat, not Sunday. Yes, you woke up first, like the fig tree. You woke up first, like the shoot of the fig tree. You were the first one open. You said, oh, this is crazy. The Shabbat ain't never been done away with. Then you start listening to all the liars, and you go, oh, boy. You saw it first. Then you saw Christmas, and you said, oh, my goodness, that Baal and Tammuz. That's not Torah. We have the feast we have the feast of dedication. Put eyes open first. That's the fig tree. You are the fig tree. Then we have, then we saw Purim. I can go there, but I'm not going to deal with that one right now because it's not one of the segments. But I can talk about, then we have Passover, right? You saw it. You was like, wait, what the hell is this Easter? Ain't that a deity? Yes, it is. Aren't the eggs a satanic symbol? Yes, it is. Fertility goddess goes all the way back to Babylon. You saw it. You were like, oh. Then you go to church and you look and you say, oh, damn. Now you can't go back in there. You're like, you try to tell people, hey, man, don't do this. And then what happened? Kick you out. The next thing you know, you go, Mother's Day, Estarte. Right? And then you just do it all, and then your eyes start opening. Then the next thing you know, you're looking at the diet, and you go, we're not supposed to be eating swine? No, hell no. That thing is dirty. It's an abomination. And then you see it first. You try to tell the other people, they can't see it. Even though you tell them about it, but like I hear people, and I'm not against this, but I hear people always talking about the biblical diet based on health. And it is healthy. But the biblical diet is deeper than health. The biblical diet is a matter of obedience to the covenant. It's taking heed to yourself. It's a covenant meal. When we sit down to eat, every time we sit down to eat, we are reestablishing part of the covenant between us and Yah. And our plate that we sit behind is a testimony of the covenant. Why? Because you can look on my plate and tell I must be in a covenant. Because I won't put on my plate the things that the covenant tell me can't be here. It's obedience. Well, why you do that? Because I saw it first. This generation that's waking up, we are the first generation after the 400 years that have seen the truth of who we are and whose we are. So therefore, we must stay woke. So the idea, it doesn't just mean watch. It means be a watchman. That's the Hebraic word. The Greek just say, look. No, but the Hebrew said, no, you become a watchman. Now you have a job. I gotta go. Y'all not ready for this kind of preaching on this Holy Shabbat? I said, you got a job now. To do what? To get on that wall and watch. Don't worry about what people say. It does not matter. You gotta watch. And then what, Murray? Then you gotta pray. You gotta watch. You must be them down on the wall. No, I gotta keep watching. Wait a minute, I'm just gonna throw this in for free. Not only do I have to watch, I also gotta have a trumpet. To do what? Part of my job is to sound the trumpet, to lift up my voice like a trumpet. That's why I don't give a damn about people talking about don't raise your voice. You didn't call me.
Okay.
You didn't set me on the wall. You didn't set me apart to be a seer in the house of Israel. You didn't make me a watchman. So the one that called me told me, when I put you on that wall, lift up your voice like a trumpet. Hell, yes. So what am I going to do, disobey him because you don't like me getting loud? That's your problem. That's not my problem. The other day, I was trying to rest. I was trying to relax. I was chilling. And all of a sudden I heard, woo, woo, bow, 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 woo, woo, woo. The ambulance. I know it's ambulance. I just said ambulance. I'm from the country. And the fire truck. And the police. Can you imagine me going to the ambulance? Hey, man, I'm chilling. Man, stop all that noise. Go to the fire truck. Hey. Shh. I'm relaxed. You're bothering me. The police siren. Turn that off, man. Dude, hey, stop that. Don't y'all got some jazz you can play? Don't you got some smooth jazz? Don't you got some nice classical music you can play? That siren. Why y'all laughing? Why y'all laughing in the chat? Because you already know. That ambulance, that fire truck, and that police car don't give a damn about what I feel about their siren. And if you think for one moment that I can give a damn about you for how I preach, that's your problem, that ain't mine. I'm trying to wake up the house of Israel, and I'm trying to obey the king. So guess what Zeke did? He blew the trumpet. Because he was told if he don't blow the trumpet, then the blood of the people was going to be on him. And Zeke was like, oh, no, that's not going to happen. No, you got it all wrong. I'm going to warn the people. Why? Because when it's over and we stand in the judgment, you're going to stand up and I'm going to have to stand up and say, all right, look. Did he say such and such? You're going to be like, did he warn you? Now watch. If I don't warn you and you say, he never told me about judgment. I was watching him over for years. He never talked about the last days. He never talked about tithes, offerings, putting you first. He never talked about food, or he never talked about the feast days. He never talked about the covenant. He never talked about none of that. Then the Most High will put me to the side as a watch. Say, hey man, come here. So, what was you on the wall doing? And then I say, Well, I was just playing saxophone. I was just playing some jazz. People like jazz. And they said they wanted nice music. So you was on the wall, yeah. And you were just playing your saxophone the whole time? What were you playing? Just humor me. I played Autumn Leaves, the autumn leaves, all by my window. Oh, you did? Okay. What else did you play? Oh, I played All Blue by Miles. And I played Scrapple from the Apple, Charlie Parker. Oh, I played After the Love Is Gone, by Earth, Wind & Fire. Oh, okay. So you play some Earth, Wind & Fire. But you didn't talk about the earth, the wind, or the fire of the revelation. So you was doing what the people wanted instead of what I put you in their wall. Okay. And I tell you, they still going to hell. But their blood guiltiness.
I typed it. I don't know what's
Put
going
on
on.
you. Which means what? You're going to hell too. And to that, I made up my mind long time ago. No, this don't sound crazy, but to hell, we're going to hell. No, I'm not going to hell behind no Hebrew Israelites. Barely woke to the truth in the last day, because they can't stand no man raising his voice like a trumpet,
Fire bundles for
roaring like a lion.
8 items, including his butt.
They can't, that's not my problem. You got a Bible. I'm out the room. Y'all give me about 4 or 5 more minutes. Let me get to this point, because I'm going to close this. Hit the like button. Support the work of the kingdom. Share with tithes and offerings. We give tithes and offerings from the ark. Yes, we in it together. We're going to watch. But we also got to pray.
Chaos.
We watch and pray. Man, I'm gonna run out of time. But we gotta watch and pray. What does that mean, Moray?
So you can
As we watch, we are in constant communication with Yah. So we're watching, but we're not watching without prayer. Because if you are not bringing your petition to him and he is not speaking to you about what's going on, you're going to end up a terrible watcher. Prayer is important because prayer is Abba Yah's way of getting you to become closer to him through scripture. Just understand that prayer is supposed to be done with scripture. So the more we pray, the more scripture we're supposed to have, because that's how he speaks to us. He speaks through his word. So what we have to learn how to do is pray his own word back to him. What does that do? It humbles us. So when we find the scripture and we can bring scripture to him, then he can speak back to us in scripture, in prayer. What does it do then? When we pray, when we watch and pray, the prayer is what removes the fear. Yes. The prayer. Why? Because of the script. I see what's going on, then I ask Yah, I go to the word. He speaks to me through the word and tells me, oh, when you see this happening, don't trip. I'm finna do this. Then the fear leaves. The famine's coming. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? Read the Bible. plant a garden, dude. Get by some water, you'll be all right. I got you. Oh, then the fear leaves. The empire's falling. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? And I read the script and I pray. Yah, what does it say? He said, oh, that's the little horn. That's the one that enslaved my people with the words. I got to kill that thing. Because if I don't, it's going to kill everybody. But I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to rescue you. Now my fear is gone. So I can watch and pray. When you watch and pray, then what happens is the scriptures,
Max, you're Max helping me with
the scriptures remove fear.
Finding and everything,
Because
and
if you
sitting on
watch
my remote.
without
Although I've been
prayer,
flying for 8 years, I don't really know how to do any of that stuff.
Then
thank you to Kazi
you're
for putting
watching
me onto this amazing radio.
can make you
Thank
scared.
you to Hello Radio Sky for
And if
sending
you
me the
watch
radio.
without
Thank you to my
scripture,
sponsors, We Bleed. Thank you.
then
Thank
you're
you.
watching
Thank you everybody for watching
can
these
actually
videos.
produce.
I'm really just
deception.
good at flying. Technical stuff is not my best.
And if
but
you
anyways,
watch
let's get straight into the
without being
video.
obedient,
Hello Radio.
then what'll happen
Sky. I
is
hit
you'll
them up and
watch
asked
it.
if I could do a review video.
that
on
will
their new
become
radio.
a hypocrite.
And they were kind enough to send me.
So I'm
radio
trying to
to
do
do a video.
everything he tells me to do.
Unfortunately,
What's
I did
that?
not
He said in
get
the
my
last days you
FPV
become a watcher.
name engraved into.
But make sure you have the
like
word.
Ozzy did, like at
And
the
that
top
you
of the
watch.
thing.
And then
But,
you pray.
Hey,
Because
I got
with
one
the word
anyway,
of
and
Yah
I'm extremely grateful.
and a watchful eye
I am
and a
part.
prayerful heart,
I'm gonna read.
you will
all
find
the
yourself
cool stuff
a
that was on the box
spiritual.
because I don't remember.
You will
all
find
that
yourself.
stuff. I'll also show what comes in the box. You know, they send this external.
I'm trying to use the regular
thing
words.
that could
You
go
find
on the top
yourself
here for like long range. This
becoming
is the
spiritually vigilant.
915M.
You'll find yourself
long range.
becoming
And-
spiritually aware. So what does that do? Then that allows you to speak peace to the people. That allows you to stay on the wall and tell Jerusalem that Abaya is still in control. Yes, when you have the word and you're watching and you're praying, you're able to encourage those who are hearing the watcher. You can tell them, hey, y'all, everything
Best Buy
is
is turning
just like he
60
said.
this year. That is a long time in the tech world, and so many things have been invented and
Yes.
improved since then. Best Buy's been there with you
Yes,
throughout
you
the
can do
years
it.
when tech
When
looked
you-
like
if
this
you
in the
got the
60s,
word
to the
and
first
you
mobile
watch it
phones in
and
the
you
80s,
constantly in
till
prayer,
tech looked like
you can
this, to
tell
fit in your
the-
pocket,
you can
to
tell
the
the
first smartphones.
brokenhearted.
And now, all the way
He
up
is
into
about to
modern
hit.
tech, like the
He gonna
Galaxy
been
S26
that.
Ultra, with
You gonna
features
be all
like
right.
a 5,000 milliamp
He's on
hour
his
battery,
way.
which gives you all-day battery life.
He got
So yeah, Best Buy
healing
can
in
help
his
you with either
wings.
an upgrade or something new in tech
Well, you
to
can
help
tell
elevate
the
your life.
hungry.
Click on that blue button to see
Your
more.
days of hunger are almost
This right here is
Hold
probably
on.
the best value
You
in
can tell
affordable
those that
right
have been
now.
put out.
But
Look,
that's
you about to be brought
assuming
back.
you care more
You can
about
tell those
function.
without a last name. You
See,
won't
2
get your
years ago
name
when
restored.
Google
Just
launched the
hold
Pixel
on.
9
How you know
was
everything
the
is working?
ideal
He on his
foldable,
way.
an outer screen that
Why,
matched the base
I can
model,
see
the
it.
largest inner display of its time, and the only one in the West
You
to
can
take
tell
photography
those.
seriously. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold was the first to bring true
That I'm
large dust
discouraged to be
resistance,
encouraged.
magnetic versatility, better
You can
battery
tell
life, you
those
name it.
who are lonely.
This year, this
Now,
Pixel 11 Pro
you ain't
Fold is what
lonely.
Google does,
You're never
as stunning as it is strong.
Why, there
Well,
is
let's
one
just say
that
that
does
statement is not
stick
far-fetched,
closer than a
but that
brother.
depends on what I said at the beginning of the video.
Why,
I'm Jaime
you can
Rivera,
tell
and it's
those
time for my full
who
review.
feel like they're all alone in this thing. You can say, listen to me, Yahuwah got at
All right,
least
let me
7
start by
hours
explaining what I mean.
that
Stunning by
work
definition is something
for
extremely
Babylon.
beautiful,
They have
attractive,
never
and
even
impressive,
bowed
and
their
that
knee to
core
Baal
is the
one
most important
time. You're
part
not
for
alone.
2026. Google has never been conventional when it comes to
the little
making
creek you
any
got me by is
phone.
drying
It
up.
started
Don't worry about
wide
that.
when
Don't
nobody
worry
was
about
doing it,
Don't
and
worry about
then
that.
look at
There's
the
a
market
little-
now. I mean, it prioritizes
She right around the
cameras,
corner. Go
endurance,
on
and
over there.
water, and does resistance early as well.
I got something
Heck,
in
it
store for her,
remains
but
the
you gonna
only
also get a
foldable
little
with
cake,
magnets that I know of.
Freaking
The
woman.
problem
I'm just
is
trying to
that
say,
this
when you-
approach
when you
came a
read the
bit
Bible,
too
you
late in
study
my
the
opinion.
scriptures, you have the
Samsung
word.
kind of proved with
And then
its
you
China-like
watch. And then you
reinvention that
ask
beautiful
God
and
in prayer
attractive
to show
sells
it to you.
more than
Now you
conventional.
have
And
something.
now
When
we
you
have
do
the
get
Razor
behind
Fold
cameras and
nailing
lights,
those
you
essentials
have
at a more
something
aggressive
to
price.
tell the people,
Yes,
to
I know
encourage
Chinese
them to
foldables
keep
are
the camera,
even
knowing what?
further
The
ahead.
king is about
That's
to
a
come
story
back.
for another video. Thing is,
Now,
I
I
think
told you all I needed
focusing
a couple
on
of minutes.
looks
I only
misses
need
the bigger
about 3
picture
more
about
now,
why
and I
this
will
phone
pick this
exists
up in
and
the
what
next
makes it
video.
impressive. So
What
let
is that,
me
Moon
tell
Ray?
you why you should care. Yes,
Watch
the
therefore
hardware
and pray
conversation is
always. That's
polarizing.
verse 36.
Kudos to Google for getting
I'm always in
creative
the
about
scripts
both
now.
design and materials.
So we gotta watch?
Instead
Yes.
of glass,
He
which
says
can
pray.
break, or fabric,
Yes,
which will
always.
age well.
Of course.
Google decided
Why?
to use a glass fiber composite back
you
that the company
become
claims is
worthy.
impossible to crack, or nearly that. Though, well, we'll leave the verdict
To do
to
what?
Zach, or Jerry, as some of you call him.
escape.
Thing is, the change plus the new hinge and the ceramic
All
treatment of
these
top
things
glass
that should
make it
come
3
back.
times more durable. Now,
And then
the
he
claims
said,
of a millimeter thinner also pull from what Oppo did with the Find N6, where the
Stand where?
back is actually thinner than the top. And listen,
For me.
I'll take it given how they still
see that
manage
you
to
not
add
messianic
magnets to
maniac,
it,
how
and
stupid
it
it
does
is, something
feel
like
lighter
that.
to manage.
No, you gonna
By
stand
the way,
before
while
him.
I did pick Obsidian, given the matte rails, the hinge
All
is
people
still
talking about
glossy,
he's a
and I will
bastard
admit that
child.
the olive
And
grew on
Miriam
me
and
at the
Joseph
hands-on
got busy
experience.
in the hay.
That being
Even though
said,
they
this is
said they
probably
didn't.
the
and
best
he tried
phone
to cover it
of
up
this
and all that.
color
Y'all going
that
to
I've
hell for all
used
that.
where
But you
smudges
know
and
what? You
fingerprints
gonna
are
get a
not
chance
issue.
to stand.
Now, as for the displays, the most improved is really the outer panel. Google didn't really mention much, but it is larger at 6.5 inches diagonal thanks to a major reduction in bezels. Given it shares the aspect ratio of the base pixel,
But not
you
the
get
12
a
drive. You gonna stand
non-compromised
before.
smartphone experience when closed, though
Everybody, you
now
gonna
slightly
stand
larger.
before the
The inner
king.
super active
The-
panel
the
remains the
four-
same at
the
8
lion
inches
of the
diagonal,
tribe
making it
of
one of the
Yahuwah
largest in the West, even if sure
will be
it's
your
not
final
reflected and
destination.
the crease that you can feel if you run your
And
fingers
so he
through it.
tells
though
you,
it doesn't really
you better
bother me.
watch.
Still,
You
both
better
panels
pray.
are now brighter
You
at
better stay
2600
on that
nits at
wall.
peak, and by the
You
way,
better
the
stop
speakers follow the
overdoing
oval
it
approach
with
of being
food and
placed on
drink.
opposite sides,
You better
so
stop
whether
getting high
vertical or
and drunk out
horizontal,
your
sound
mind,
remains
and you
stereo no
for
matter
sure
what.
better stop getting caught in the careless life, and your king
Now,
is
yeah,
gonna
there
come back.
was quite the
Because what
storm in the
matters
comments of
in the
my
very
hands-on
end
video
is
over
whether
the
you gonna
internals.
stand before the
I hate to
king.
break the failed rumors, but Tensor G6 is 3 nanometers, and come on, guys, it's not an
Because
issue.
you're not gonna just
This
be
update brings an
standing
upgraded
random.
ISP, 50% more power to the TPU, a new
But the
Titan
word
M3
really
security
means
chip, and a new MediaTek
standing.
T900 modem. Finally, this remains the
That you
only
have took a
foldable in the
stand.
West with IP68 water and dust resistance. We
And the
have
stand
plenty
that you
of RAM,
took
the latest
put you
connectivity,
in
faster
good
wired and
standing
wireless
with him.
charging, even if, yeah, with a smaller battery. And I do wish
Hit the like
starting
button.
storage was more.
Not
for
just
its
standing
price.
up on my feet,
So, fine.
but
Some
I'm
of
in
you
good
will
standing.
complain that there are better chips or
checking the
thinner
box.
designs, but the bigger
I'm in good
picture
standing.
is that what those
I'm going
phones
through
don't have
the
is
Ten
the
Commandments,
cohesive
making sure
software
I'm not
experience
violating
we've
them.
known Pixels for
going through all
since
of
the
the
very
laws and the
first
prophets
one.
and making
Listen,
sure
grab
that I'm in
any
good
Galaxy
standing.
Fold, and I mean all of them.
And then I
Notice
bow my
how the
knee to
fonts
my
are a
king and I
mess,
give
and
him
not just
everything.
between displays, but also within
Honor and worship
applications.
and glory
Grab
for
any
his
modem
blood
razor and check the last time
that
it got a software
ratifies the covenant
update.
and
It is
gives
right
us the
here
right
that a
to the tree
Pixel
of life.
is a Pixel. You're not just first
I gotta
at
be
every
in good
Android
standing.
update, but you also don't have to wait
I
a
gotta
full
be in
year for
good
improvements.
standing.
As Pixel drops happen all
Because
the
I gotta
time with
stand
new
before him.
features. And by the way, that's for the next 7 years. So everything you saw at the
close with
Android show in
Revelation.
May that's actually beyond
Chapter
just
6.
Android 17 itself is here. Remember Rambler on Gboard?
And I shall bid you
able to speak
farewell
whichever way
on
you
this holy
want,
Shabbat.
and even in multiple languages. Yeah,
Support the
that's
work of the
crazy
heart.
cool, and it's here.
Hit the like
Remember Gemini
button.
going agentic to automate not just
Pray for
ordering
me and I'll
Uber,
pray for you.
but now extending to more
Revelation chapter
applications.
6,
Yeah,
verse
that's
10.
here too. Actually, Google is renaming it to Gemini Intelligence, and it involves
Wait, hold on.
proactive assistant settings
Verse 9.
on what's on your screen or while you're
Revelation
messaging,
chapter
or
6,
location-based
beginning at verse
suggestions
9.
at a glance, or
And
live
when he had
translation of
opened
media, or hey, even American
fifth
Sign Language
seal.
we saw at the event. The only thing I didn't really
I saw under
try
the
is
altar the souls
highlight.
of
I mean,
them
it is a cool idea. We've seen nothing
that
to it
were
a lot,
slain
and while I do miss the notification
for the
LED
word
on
of Yah.
the speaker grill of older phones, I'll admit I haven't received a single phone call in a week,
testimony
and nor am I the type
they
to
had.
place my phone face down on a table.
And they
to
cried with a
scratch
loud
it.
voice,
The arguments of
saying,
eliminating
"How
distractions are
long,
actually
O Yah,
not new. I mean,
holy and
remember
true?
the Nokia Lumia campaign for a phone that saves us from our phones?
Avenge our
It failed
blood.
because the problem is
On them
not the
that
phone
dwell on
itself,
earth.
but the Liberty applications have and
And
what
white
notifications we get, though that's a story for another video.
We're giving unto
I'll
every
look into
one of them.
highlight a little more
And it
during
was
my
said unto them,
overview that's
Bible
coming
now,
later, as third-party application support is still
that
pending,
they should
along with your
rest
ability to
yet
create your own
for a little
widgets.
season
So at the Android show.
until their fellow
Thing is, for
servants
day-to-day use, I
also
have to
their
be fair in
brethren
stating that
that
this
should
does
be
feel
killed as
like
they
a
were
superior phone.
should be
The speed
fulfilled on that
at which
ain't gonna
Gemini
stop
automated
killing
getting me
until it's
an
over.
Uber in New York City is
That king
genuinely
of killing is gonna
mind-boggling.
keep
Sharing
killing.
photos through AirDrop with my Mac is
Until
seriously as
our
good as
king
if I was
Yahushua
using an
brings it to an
iPhone.
end.
I mean, Bubbles is not new. If you remember chat
And I
heads
beheld
on the
when he had
HTC
opened the
first
6 seal.
Facebook phone from like 2013, but to have it now extend to
There was
all
a great
applications
earthquake.
officially for multitasking and not how
the sun
Samsung and
became
Oppo forced their way through
black
it
as
is far
sackcloth.
better. This plus the previous multitasking approach and my Logitech keys to go
And the moon
is
became
exactly
as
how I
blood.
wrote the script for this video.
And the
Performance has
stars
been
of
snappy.
heaven
Battery
fell
life is
unto
as
the
good or
earth,
better as
even
last
as
year,
a
even
fig
with a
tree
smaller power
cast her
pack.
untimely
Phone calls were
figs
then
when she's
surprisingly
shaken
great
of
on
a
the
mighty
Verizon
wind. Wait, more,
network, and
no,
I
you did.
felt the same with the
Yeah, I did.
connectivity. Like seriously,
You
this
gotta hook up them
MediaTek
big
modem
trees like
could
that,
have not
yes.
come at a better time.
He said,
But all right,
rock the
one of the
tree.
reasons I struggle with this being the only foldable with the Pro name
Wow.
on it is that these camera
The
sensors
stars
are
gonna
not
fall.
that. Actually, we have the same primary and ultra wide as the base model, a lesser telephoto and detail, and then selfie cameras that are tighter than every other pixel in field of view. Still, remember how Pixels have been making miracles with far less specs than others, and while the previous iterations of this phone fumbled, this one did not. I do feel the new ISP on Tensor G6 is
parted as a
thanks for
scroll
that.
when it is rolled
Where the
together.
10 Pro Fold failed in
And every
detail,
mountain.
this phone can get
This is
pretty
the
sharp,
Bible.
but there
Yes,
is
this
a
is what's coming,
catch.
Zion.
The primary is fine,
This
but
is what's coming.
ultra-wide
This
and
is next
telephoto
on the
can get
list.
great results if you have a steady hand. Though I
heavens
took a lot of these
departed
photos before
as a
the final
scroll and
software
rolled
you're
together
getting
in
is
every
out, so it's why I'm reviewing the
every
pros later.
island.
I also love this color science so much and its added contrast that I never really enabled
their
photo
place.
looks. I mean, they look cool to have, but it's not
And
like
the
the
kings of
iPhone
the
where you can
earth.
easily remove them in post.
And the
At night,
great
I got to see what I described during the day. Instant night sight with great results that
And
look
the-
amazing on the phone, though
And the
on a
rich.
monitor you can tell you need a steady hand for the ultra-wider
Yes.
zoom in. I love the dynamic range and
the
some of the
capture.
tougher scenarios in New York City where the camera balances things
And
out,
the
though
mighty
again,
mix.
depending on the focal length. Sadly, 3 years
And
later,
every
we
bond
still get
mix.
long exposure, which is great, but I do wish
And
we
every
had
free
action
man.
pan, as
What they
even the
do?
base models have it.
Hit them.
Portraits and selfies prove to
No,
be interesting. I mean, I like them, but
The
I did
Bible.
notice in the monitor
Where?
that, well, hair needs a bit
In the den.
more work for the roll-off and the shallow depth of field to look natural. And then there are tricks like
who
magic
you are.
capture,
They
which is
hide.
a great idea where the resulting video
Yes,
is pretty much
all you
useless,
worldly.
but you can freeze great frames
Hide.
of moving scenarios or pick others.
Here they go.
And then Creator Suite is then one of those genius ideas that solves a huge problem that I've had with iPhones, where creating content is a mess in your camera roll. Here, what you create goes into a separate
every one of
project.
these
You
people
get a
got a
teleprompter, audio levels, and if
Every
anything,
one of these
I wish
people
the
got a
field of
bumper.
view was wider on this
Every
phone.
one of
But
these people that I
all right,
already
let's
dug a hole in
actually
the
talk
ground.
about video. I mean,
I
the
wish I
results
was
are
here
far better than
tomorrow.
before, but there are still some disappointments that the new Pros
They
don't
know
deal
that
with.
this is happening. They
4K
know
at
it's
60
coming.
still can't do HDR, for
Every single
example,
person
which
in this
would
picture
benefit this
have
phone a lot, though
already
I am
dug
noticing
a
better
hole
dynamic
and
range during the
dug
day,
a
because
den
it
and
was
made a
not
house
good
and made
at the
something
Trevor Noah event
underground.
in the dark. I mean, selfie video is, again,
the like
good,
button.
but I
They know how to
do
treat
wish
you
we
like
at
this.
least
You
had the
today,
field of
we
view
few
of
and
the
far
base model
between.
in 20 millimeters, as this does
Yeah,
come
they
up
hid in the
tight.
den and in
Thing
the
is,
rocks
for
of the
a
mouth.
phone with the Pro in the name, I
Instead of to
do
the
wish
mouth
lock
and
video
the
was
rocks.
available. It would help us solve its shortcomings in post, at least, but no.
The face of him that
is
sitteth
what
on
you
the
get.
throne. Stop!
To conclude, I think the last bit is how I
White
feel
Jesus.
about this phone in most cases.
I thought the
I wish it was
big man
called
was
Pixel
coming.
11 Fold and not
The one that
Pro
y'all
Fold,
say you
because
love so
even
much.
the base model has
The one
similar
that you
specs
guys
and
say
more
is
capabilities.
the second
No one else
person
is
of a
calling their
Godhead.
foldables Pro phones,
The
which
one
might
that you
have to
think
do
gonna
with how
hold
hard
hands
it
with
is
all
to
of the
make better specs
other
on
religions
such a
of the
limited
world.
footprint and would help
The
with
one who's gonna wipe
expectations.
away slavery
That
and,
said,
and
even
act
if
like it never
photography and
happened and never have to
videography are
punish
what
the slavery.
separates the
I thought that's
Pixel
the one
11
y'all was
Pro
looking
from the
for.
pack.
I thought
It
the one that you got
doesn't have
posted
to
on
mean
every
the same
building
thing
board,
for
every
the
billboard,
Fold.
in
There is
every
such a thing
library,
as
in
a
every
phone for
cathedral,
professionals to
in every college.
multitask and get things
I thought
done.
that
and
one was coming
yeah,
back.
it's
Don't
why
you
I've
wanna
carried
see him?
foldables since
Ain't
day
that the one y'all waiting on?
These have been my
Oh, but you know the
workhorses
truth,
for
huh?
day-to-day communications.
But you wasn't ready for the
my
movie
tablet
to show it
and
to you.
keyboard
I'ma
for
show
getting
it.
things done, my e-reader of sorts,
not
and my
looking forward to
favorite
the
way to
return of
catch
the
up
king
on
because you know
news,
this is
which
the real
also
king.
happens to be my
He got hair like lamb's wool.
Though yeah, I
His skin
use
like
this
burnt
one as a
bright.
stylus.
He got the
This
scroll
right
in his
here
hand.
is
He got
where
the
I'm
record
next.
book.
Yeah, Yes, the Galaxies
back
have
to
better
wreak
chips
havoc.
and lesser creases. I mean, the
say
Razr
hi,
Fold
though.
has the stylus that I want
From the
in
one
these
that sits on
cameras.
the throne
But
and
if it
from
were
the
my money,
wrath
I'd actually
hear
pick
that?
this Pixel 11 Pro Fold.
the Lamb.
Google has the best integration with Gemini.
And the
that I've
last
seen,
question is for that great day.
finding more useful, the more productive experiences, the more cohesive software from a visual perspective, the most complete ecosystem when it comes to accessories, and best of all, whatever cool new things come next, this is the foldable that'll get them first. I know my decision is controversial, but after seeing how well Google has supported Pixels for years, and the hit or miss delayed mess that we get from the rest, I'd rather pick a product built for the future and love the looks or not. This is the one Android foldable built for that. Now, let me know if you agree with my assessment in the comments below. And while you're at it, please like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments, as I'm sure you've seen me try to respond to as many as I can.
And I got news
Also,
for you.
follow me on
This ain't
social
standing in
media as
front
more
of the
behind the
devil.
scenes
This ain't the Antichrist y'all gotta worry
I'm Jaime
about.
Rivera. Thanks so much
This
for
ain't no
watching.
Mr.
I'll see you on the
666
next
that
one.
you gotta worry about standing in front of. No,
Best Buy is turning 60 this
I tell
year.
the world,
That
y'all
is a
don't
long
know this
time
book at all. You better stop
and so many
talking
things
about
have
it.
been
You don't
invented
know.
and
This
improved
book is
since
not
then.
about
Best
you
Buy's been here with you
standing
throughout
in
the
front
years.
of
When tech
some
looked like this in the
wicked
60s,
beast
to the
government.
first mobile
Who
phones in the
gives a
80s,
damn?
till tech looked like this, could fit in your
This
pocket,
book is
to
about
the first
who's
smartphones.
gonna be able to
And now,
stand
all the way up
before
into
our
modern tech,
king.
like the Galaxy S26 Ultra, with features like a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which gives you all-day battery life. See how Best Buy can help you with either an upgrade or something new in tech to help elevate your life. Click on that blue button to see more.
That has resurrected and told death, hell, and the grave. I got all power. Who gonna be able to stand against our kinsman redeemer and our kinsman avenger? That's the question. And he's talking to his own disciples when he told them, are you gonna be able? Don't you get caught up in this world and go down
The
with
beautiful
the
thing about doing
go
government
down with
contracting is it's one of truly
Babylon.
one of the only business models I can say that truly has infinite potential. You put a number in your head, you can conceivably make that amount of money. Now, it might not happen in a year, but if you put a plan together, like there's no amount of money you can't write on a piece of paper that you could possibly make in this industry if you really, really try. There's definitely a lot of work out there. There's more work than there is people to do the work if you look for the right type of work. I get more joy when I have my students when it's dope because, you know, you get somebody that's making $40,000, $50,000 a year at their normal job, and now they win a government contract and they're making 10, 15 grand, and they're like, I just made a quarter of my income for the entire year, and all I had to do was send some emails and do some paperwork. And I'm like, yeah, now imagine what you can do if you actually did this as a real job and it just wasn't a side or a hobby.
All right, Kevin, thank you so much for joining the Construction Game Podcast. Super excited to be here with you today, walking through. You're a government contractor. You do your own government contracts. You also help people in the government contracting space. And we were just talking, and you let me know you guys have done over 400 transactions with us, and you've also done hundreds of millions of dollars. So super excited to walk through that with you. Can you give me a little bit of story on like how'd you got started doing this in this game?
Yeah, for sure. So I got started in government contracting in 2009. So I was in real estate development prior to that. And then when the market crashed in 2008, I lost essentially my real estate development company went down to nothing. And so I had to figure out another way to continue to generate revenue. So I had experience with government contracting because my father had been doing government contracting since the 80s. He was actually in he was like the initial wave of.
Yes, I heard my grandfather say, fire will my mother be able to stand. Someone else said, will my father be able to stand? Someone else said, will my sister be able to stand? And someone else said, will my brother be able to stand? And the question is never answered in the hymn. But there is an admonition in the same song. Don't worry about your mama. Don't worry about your daddy. Don't worry about your sister or your brother. Let him get you ready.
Check your fire. On your
That's what I'm trying to do as a hospital. Let him get you ready. that great day. Yeah, let him get you ready. That's all. Let him get you right. So that you will.
Semtex out.
So you'll be able to stand. That you'll be able to stand with him. And you'll be able to be in good standing. Hallelujah. That's all that's happening. Heaven and earth find a way, but his word will be here. Will you? I gotta go with my shoulders on fire. I gotta go. Hit the like button. Support the work of the heart. I gotta go. But what? Woo! I'm so glad. Trouble. It ain't gonna last. The end of the world is coming. But look, the end of the world for the season is the beginning of the kingdom of our Savior and of our King. Yes. Who shall be able to stand? That's the question. Those that keep the covenant, the testimony of Yahuwah, or which is really the covenant of Yah, the commandments of Yah, and the covenant of Hamashiach. That's the scriptures all the way through. Are you in that number? If not, you need to get in that number today. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
All right, we have secured Bravo.
Hit the like button. Share the message. Support the work of the art. Pray for us, we pray for you. And until next time, keep looking up.
We have lost objective Bravo. All units
For our redemption.
vehicles are ready for deployment.
Draw nigh.
Objective Delta is under control.
Hallelujah. Shalom.
All right, Delta has been secured.
A lot has changed since Bob's Discount Furniture opened its first store in 1991, but not their values. The latest styles at 90s prices shipped fast. So stop in this Labor Day weekend and celebrate 35 years of the Bob's Way.
We have lost control of Delta.
Hello, investors. I'm doing my best Don Vanderboord impression right there. Welcome to another episode of the Investing with IBD podcast. It's Justin Nielsen here, your host, and we are joining you live at 5 p.m. as we typically do on a Wednesday afternoon. Today is August 19th, 2026, and of course, we've got Dan Vanderboord from Revere Asset Management back on the show. For those of you that aren't familiar with Don's work, he's the Chief Investment Officer over there at Revere Asset Management. Of course, very like-minded folks over at Revere using the IBD methodology with a particular interest in not just growing that money, but also making sure it's protected. It's one of those things that as we get older, we start thinking a little bit more about how little runway we have left to to grow those assets. And a lot of times we don't want to see something derail our retirement plan. So the protection part is a very big part. And we're going to get into all that. But welcome back to the show, Don. How you doing?
Great to be here, Justin. You're going to have to stretch out that intro.
Hello, investors.
Much better. Much
yes. better. And it just made me chuckle a little bit because, of course, we're checking out the YouTube comments as they come in, and that was what Don opened it up. So that's the real Don there in the YouTube comments for those of you that are watching this live. But Don, let's get right to it. It's been a very interesting market lately. I mean, we've had a lot of the attention on our AI trade, and I think what was really interesting about the last few weeks is so much of this attention that we've been looking at for some of these AI trades. I'm just going to pull up SanDisk for fun here. This was absolutely one of the main leaders, and huge move, hundreds of percent up, and then it has more than a 50% drop. Of course, when this got back above the 50-day moving average line, you had this, the AI trade is back. Now you've got something, right back below the 50-day moving average line, and this is just one of many. The main point here is the AI trade, it's not going away. There's still a lot of potential innings left in this, but right now it's been tricky. So maybe we start there with the AI trade and how you've been kind of measuring this.
Yeah, we pretty much got stopped out of all of our AI stocks on the Leopold bottom. That was 729, and overnight, everybody that's been paying attention to growth stocks and the AI trade knows about his fund getting liquidated. Ken Griffin and Citadel taking it over, basically his entire book, and that was that actually, ironically, put in the bottom. We had a break. If you want to bring up the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq, you can see the breakdown there. It's clearer on the S&P because it broke a very tight range, and then slingshotted back in, and then went higher for a few days, and that was where we had the follow-through day in there. And some of the former leaders that had been broken started forming the right sides of bases in a tease to get you back in. But the last 2 days have been pretty vicious to the AI infrastructure stocks specifically, and getting some of the last ones that had held up well, namely Dell and HPE, had rough days yesterday and today. And growth investors, funds, ETFs, they need somewhere to put their money. And if it's coming out of the AI trade, you want to know where it's going to next, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show.
Yeah. Well, and let's just, I'm going to go back to Dell. Look, I've been suckered by this one a number of times myself. I couldn't help myself. This weekly chart with the kind of high tight flag look to it, I just found very compelling. And I've tried it a few times as it looked like it was ready to go. This last time, it was a clear breakout above resistance, but we're seeing a lot of times these breakouts above resistance, even your traditional buy points, you get maybe 2 days and then it rolls over.
Here, we talked about this one a lot in-house because of the Dell, and that looks not good. That looks extremely choppy. If you go to the weekly, like you said, it looks a lot better. But if you can zoom in on the weekly, one of the main points that we discussed at Revere was you typically don't see in a flat base that multiple bars inside the base go from the high of the range all the way to the low of the range. And that's what's being expressed on the daily chart. Really difficult pullbacks, really trying to just separate you from your capital. The other thing to consider with this is that pretty much everybody that is a growth investor owned it because they didn't get stopped out of it after they did get stopped out of most of the other stocks that had hard reversals like the memory names, the fiber optic names. But this was one that held up to the end, so if you had no reason to sell it, you were still hanging on to it. We were in HPE, finally got knocked out, finally got stopped out of HPE today after the two difficult days. It formed a nice cup base, came right up to the lip of the cup, but then pretty hard over the last few days. And we were buying it near the bottom of the base and had a significant gain that evaporated in 4 days. And time to cut bait when your stops get hit. That simple.
Yeah, I had this one as well. I think I was getting it as it was crossing 50.
Yeah, that 50. Yeah, that 51 level.
Yeah.
Right, was resistance for a long time until it wasn't, and then that breaking above 50 and snow breaking out of a nice base and not going back into the base. Those were two of the canaries in the coal mine. Those are the teases that I was talking about. For in a weak market, breakouts don't work. Okay, well, here's a snow breakout, didn't go back into the base, but ran up right into that pivot plus 20%, but it did it in less than 3 weeks. So that's a conundrum. Then you've got the nebulous rules about do you really have to hold it for 8 weeks? And
what kind of environment?
Right. So this was the first one. We were monitoring it. We didn't buy it because we had been getting chopped a little more than we would have liked in leading up to it. But these were the crumbs that were leading growth investors back into the market. And really the last couple of days, and we're gonna take a look at the Revere AI 100 in a little bit. And this was one of the last Dell and HPE were one of the two of the last holdouts before getting hit, and then money flowed out of the infrastructure names into the software names after completely exiting software because the AI geniuses told us that Claude, you will just simply not need software for anything. It turns out that cyber software is pretty important, and so you've got the IGV up there.
And now I'm going to go ahead and put cyber up.
Yeah, cyber. Yeah,
even the cybersecurity stocks.
Yeah, the last couple days, right? And it reinforces that sometimes you have to sell when you can and not when you're forced to. And taking a 15, I think I heard Mike talk about this with Bill. Sometimes he was okay with a 15-18% gain. He wasn't insisting on the 20 to 25% when the markets were more difficult, and that's really the type of market that it has been for the last couple of weeks. But the last 2 days in particular, very unkind to AI infrastructure stocks.
Yeah, I had kind of a duh moment with Bill O'Neill myself. William O'Neill, of course, being the founder of Investors Business Daily, where I was kind of bemoaning the fact that I was like, I'm really trying to get those 20% gains, and I'm finding that I'm getting 10, 12%, and then my stocks are rolling over. And he said, well, then why don't you just take your gains at 10, 12%? And it's like, oh, okay. That's allowed.
Right. You also have to remember, if you buy 5% past the pivot, 15% is actually the target where you should consider taking some off. As soon as you hit that 20 to 25% from pivot, not 20 to 25% from your entry, that's a key concept that needs to be reinforced.
Of course, the goal is to get as close to that ideal entry as possible. It just makes a lot of your decision making a lot easier. But certainly, with cyber up here, this has had some really, it was stuck under the 200-day moving average line, stuck under its 50-day. But when it came up, it was like, oh yeah, this is looking really strong. But man, these pullbacks, they can be brutal, and just day after day after day punishing. Where you're like, if you're a believer that it's oversold here, what happens when it goes down another 2 days and it's oversolder? I guess.
And I think the biggest change is actually probably disruption that comes now, in that what was built for the last era is different than what needs to be built for this era. And so the challenge is to change and adopt quickly.
What's so exciting about the Dell AI Factory with NVIDIA is that they are empowering our engineers and our clinical team to be a part of the design of the AI.
We're able to take this large amount of patient history and take a look into the patient's future and predict any potential negative outcomes.
We're all collaborating to create something bigger than ourselves and ultimately make the world a better place.
Yeah, that chart itself shows very clearly what happened with the huge pullback in that from October to March. It was as if cybersecurity stocks weren't needed at all, breaking the 200-day moving average, hanging under there for months. No leadership at all from what you would consider one of the absolutely most critical components of the internet and AI, cybersecurity. And then, oh wait, we'll change our mind, and now we're going to show massive relative strength off the April lows in that, now that we've scared everybody out of wanting to hold them. And then you see those two kind of climax days before the hard pullback in late May, right there and there. And again, sell when you can, take some off. We're big proponents of taking some off when you're extended from the 21-day moving average. We track +3 to +4 ATR all the time. That's a very good mathematical, it just makes sense to take some off there. And will some things keep going? Absolutely. We did some offensive trimming in Micron while it was making its huge move at the 3 to 4% extended, and didn't really get an opportunity to get some of those shares back. But that is a very, very choppy daily chart right there. And you can see it teased everybody by getting back above the 50-day moving average, and then you see what happened.
Back above 1,000, back above resistance. I mean, there were so many reasons to say, okay, this is back on, and then again, but you bring up a very good point that so many people are stuck on selling at the top, which is kind of a fool's errand to think that that's what you're going to do. You're either going to sell too soon or you're going to sell too late. So, pick your hard, right? Both of them aren't fun, but you got to just kind of pick which one are you more comfortable with. Are you okay with it going up without you, or are you feeling like, oh, you know what, I should have sold,
When you stop and think that it's one trade that puts in the top, what's the likelihood that you're going to do that trade?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, hey, people win the lottery too, but I'm not counting. I'm not counting on that myself.
But it shouldn't be your retirement plan, though, right?
Yes, right. So, Don, you mentioned the AI index, and I think it's really interesting what you've done there at Revere Asset Management, because AI has been so tricky. A lot of people, and this goes back to even like when DeepSeek happened a few years ago. I was stunned. I did a quick little correlation study of which stocks were most correlated to NVIDIA on that big drop. And I looked at the past data to see, okay, what's most correlated. Sterling Infrastructure in the building construction was the most correlated. And I'm like, how is a building construction? And of course, once you kind of think it through, it makes sense. Data centers, and but we were seeing a lot of the air conditioners, the HVAC systems,
everything, the component makers. Right.
So it's been very difficult to just say, oh, I'm going to look at the industry groups to tell me how AI is doing, because very, very disparate sometimes. So explain a little bit about what you did with the AI index and why.
You want me to share screen now?
Yeah, please do.
So we can go through. Okay. So
yeah, we can trust Don because he does this all the time on his great YouTube content that he puts out. So if you haven't checked out the Revere Asset Management, the rotation that you have with Connor and Ted, both of whom have been on, your new guy Jackson, and Don, of course, you're in there. Great content.
So really what it came down to is we started reading everywhere that the AI bubble is bursting. Well, is that subjective or is it objective or what is it? Well, math is surprise. That's the one thing that'll actually answer the question. So What we did back at the end of May is put together a list of 100 AI names. Started out thinking it was going to be 50 names, but then when you start listing them all, it ended up being like 120 liquid enough ones that we could take a look at, and then we trimmed it back. We went a nice round AI, and to objectively track the possibility of the AI bubble bursting. We know what when a bubble bursts, what it looks like, and just go back to 2000 when the internet bubble burst. Although that actually happened in two phases. There was the bubble burst, and there was 9/11, which sent another leg down in the market. But the bottom line is the NASDAQ 100 dropped 80% from its high, and the NASDAQ 100 was loaded with all the tech names, internet names that ran on the way up and ran just as quickly or more quickly on the way down. So this is a list of the 100 that we came up with, and on DeepSeek Day, Justin, we were quote unquote diversified into many of these different groups. One of the O'Neill rules is you get your diversification by industry group or sector. Well, there isn't an industry group called AI everything. They're made up of a bunch of different ones. So we were spread across industry sectors and still had a minus 5% down day. And they're all correlated. That's the bottom line. And really, you've got to diversify into non-AI and AI type sectors. But this was the initial list of 100 that we came out with. And when you're doing something that can be possibly seen as late in the game, did we put in the top by releasing by us in our team the names that we're focused on? Did we do it to ourselves by topping them? And that's another discussion for another day. Actually, some of them did top that day. 5 of the 100 did top the day that we published this. So we started tracking it that day, and this is as of the close today because our amazing data science team can produce things that quickly. And this is the AI 100 index against the S&P 500 when it started the day after Memorial Day. And as of right now, 100,000 invested in that is worth 92,000, down 7.67%. Yes, off the low, you can see this spike low. That's the Leopold low when he was liquidated. And you can see what the S&P 500 has done since then. It's up 3.14% with a lot less volatility. For objectively saying has the AI trade topped, two things with this. We should probably go back and before we initiated the index and maybe say, well, if we just started with 50,000 on X date, what would this chart look like? Because drawing down 80% from the top is kind of a benchmark that we saw back when the internet bubble burst. But the definition of a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows, and that's what we're seeing right now. So objectively, the AI trade is in a downtrend. It's down to probably 12 to 15 stocks that are holding up in decent bases. A lot of those got hit hard over the last couple of days. But objectively speaking, this is what it charted the S&P 500 against the return of these 100 AI stocks, and it's not market cap weighted. It's 1% for each of the 100, and the way we do it is just rebalance daily. So whatever the return is for that day, assuming you're starting the day at 1% for each of these names, this is what the chart would look like.
And to be clear, this is not an investment. This is not something that people can invest in. This is just an index. You're using this to give you information, right? As opposed to, this is going to tell us when to buy these stocks. It's which it might. And look, I mean, as you said, there was a number of these lower highs, lower lows, and you can see that turnaround. And it looked again like it was kind of crossing above some resistance areas, and then we're right back into that base.
Yeah, from this was 20,000 and 80,000. That's a 25% move from the bottom back up to the top. This has two different scales. It has the dollar amount on the left side and what the S&P is scaled to on the right side. So there were gains to be made during that 3 to 4 week period. We started putting more money to work in them. Started keeping our stops tight, and for the most part, got taken out of them over the last couple of days.
Yeah. So, are you going to look at kind of backfilling some of that, just to kind of see how things might have topped a little bit earlier, or what the run up was like? Is that that's something that kind of occurred to me over the last week. It would be nice to see this, not just starting from 100, put it at 50,000 or 75, whatever it is. We'll start work our way backwards to see what the 100 that we started with would look like over the month or two prior to that, so it'll be more realistic. But even if you started at the top, you've got that, like I said, that 80% drawdown tells you that it's over. Really, the way you believe methodology, all of these, we've seen failed breakouts, breaks of the 200-day moving average across the board in this list of 100 names. So the rules themselves should have gotten you out, but thought it would be nice to take a broad look at 100 key components and here are the winners and the losers from the initiation of it. And we can take a look at some of these charts, but I've got a spreadsheet I want to share too as well that gives some tremendous insight about different periods of volatility within the overall AI trade and how money shifted from out of some groups and into other groups. But snow, this was, like I said, the canary in the coal mine for a sound base, because we're always looking for sound bases when you have or are near a follow-through day. What potentially could I be investing money in? And snow was the first one. It broke out of the base. It ran like 20% in less than 3 weeks. And then Dell and HP were two others. These were probably crowded trades because they were the two that held up the best and never really flashed sell signals the way some of the other groups within the overall AI trade did. And on the other hand, you've got some that just completely gave it up and are down, anywhere from 33 to 48%. And these were names that a lot of people have traded. And you just can't ignore the price. That's your stops are your stops, no matter what you think of the company or the overall AI trade. The price is truth, and that's really all there is to say about that. But as far as the individual components go, and what has happened since we started this right after. So here is the list of 100 different sectors and how they performed. We can sort this a couple different ways, but there are several things that have happened since this started. And one of them is, as we said, the Leopold low on 729. And then we've just gone through an earnings season. 85 of the 100 names in there have reported. How have they responded since earnings? And one of the interesting things is if you sort this and look at what's performed worse, AXTI, but since the Leopold low, it's actually doubled, and it's been up 56% since its earnings. So there's been a lot of periods of money rotating between different stocks depending on what they had to say or what other companies had to say about earnings and how it trickled over into the individual sector names. So we can sort it by sector too, and you can see even with an individual sector, there are some names that did very well and some names that did poorly. So that's the key. One of the key IBD principles is identifying the leader versus the laggard in individual names. Oh, this is just you're speaking my language, Don, as you usually do when you pull up an Excel spreadsheet. I love it. It's really very useful and very interesting that, just when you were showing the top 10, it struck me, again, 6 out of 10 were in the software space, security space. So,
and that happened late in the process.
Yes, right.
Because if you'd have gone back a few weeks, it would have looked completely different than that. So it certainly hasn't been a set it and forget it trade by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, and as you showed on that spreadsheet, a lot of those biggest losers, AXPI in particular, that struck me how, it's down 48%, but with one of the biggest moves off the bottom, too. So, I mean, and it's still down that much. It's really quite incredible how punished so many of these stocks.
Yeah, and a lot of them had great runs on looking down the road. Nuclear is really what I'm focused on there. But when you get to the bottom line, you see that they're not going to have any substantial revenues from this until the late 2020s or early 2030s, when the market loses its zest for speculation. Those are the first things that get hit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and maybe you could talk a little bit about the fundamental side of all this, because again, a lot of people are trying to think this through, and certainly the expectation was, well, first you always have those picks and shovels, right? The infrastructure where it doesn't matter who the AI winner is going to be. They're all going to be buying NVIDIA chips. They're all going to have to invest in data centers. And what goes into the data center? You're going to have to cool those. You're going to have Dell servers. You're going to have all these different things. But then on the other side, you also have the hyperscalers that are spending great amounts of money, and who are they spending it with? Who are their vendors, suppliers that they're doing all that CapEx spending?
And are they getting a return on their investment? Because, there's a lot of discussion about the circular money flow too, with NVIDIA basically financing purchases for some of their those companies that are buying them and installing them in the servers.
And there's a little bit of opaqueness there where you notice that some of the hyperscalers are removing AI from their pullouts on their earnings reports. It's like, we're just going to put it in this segment. We're not going to tell you exactly how much we're gaining or losing on some of these. But how are you looking at the fundamental side of the AI trade and where we're at?
We always focus on the sales growth and earnings growth. We actually put a little bit more weight on sales growth, because if you have that, the earnings will come if you're good at running your business and you have a long enough runway to start realizing the profits. And then you'll see, gaps up on earnings, surprises on earnings. With Wall Street being offside, you can't be afraid to buy those. There's one of those today outside of the AI sector, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it really is an issue of, and one of the biggest concerns, one of the biggest issues that we've had, and let me go back to the spreadsheet a little bit and let's focus on this, and that is sorting them by the 21-day ATR. This is a percentage. So the typical O'Neill approach is if you buy something out of the sound base, it shouldn't go down more than 7 to 8%. But you can see we get all the way down to number 39 here before we start seeing stocks that aren't an 8% daily ATR, and that's been a challenge for us. And we really, what you have to do is just reduce your size. And I'm waiting for Mike to convert that 20-25% into an ATR for everything. We talked a little bit at review about that. Can you treat all stocks the same way, 20 to 25%, when if AXPI went up one ATR, it's already up 17% on the day. So that I think when I really don't know the exact numbers of what a typical daily average true range would be on some of the big names that Bill used to trade back in the day. But I don't think he'd have come up with it's kind of like the shakeout plus 3. Is it shakeout plus 3 or is it shakeout plus 5 to 10%? That's evolved as well. But let's go down. What has small ATRs? The smallest is a REIT that has 3%, and then Train, the AC company, 3%. So you absolutely could focus on, say, I'm not going to trade anything that has more than a 5% ATR and still have a decent list of sound stocks. But those aren't the ones that get the headlines. Those aren't the ones that get tweeted about. But these are, extremely difficult to hold with this methodology and that wide of an ATR.
Right. Again, if you're going to be focused on minimizing your losses, for folks that don't know, ATR stands for average true range, which, as you kind of alluded to, that's about how much you should expect it to move on average each day, from the previous day's close to the highs and lows of the day. And yeah, that's 17%. I mean, look, at a certain point, your stomach can't handle it. And
exactly.
I noticed that you have on some of the lower ATR sites, you threw some ETFs in there. So
just one.
Okay.
Yeah, just one because when we started it, there was we put several copper names in. But yeah, just one ATR, and that's to handle the copper names. FCX probably would have been the biggest one, which FCX is a name that's built up and is kind of one of the leaders with the basis forming right now for potential entry. But that's a different story.
Yeah,
for a different podcast.
Right. Well, let's get into some of these stocks that you wanted to go a little bit more in detail with. So, unless you had anything else to share.
No, that's it. So let's hit some charts.
Yeah, folks, if you want to just take some screenshots there, I mean, one of the things that Don prides himself on is transparency. That's something that you talk a lot about. And it's hard to find something more transparent than basically giving, hey, this is exactly what we're looking at and why. You guys did a great job with that. So here's AXTI, just to your point of what that looked like. And a top here at 143 and comes all the way down to 36. So sure, from 36 up to almost 100, you got to say, well, gosh, what's wrong with a huge move off the bottom like that? But wow, I mean, even today, some of these days that look, pretty calm, today was down 10.8%. That doesn't even really stick out.
Right, and that's only 60% of its ATR.
Yeah. So FCX that you mentioned in the copper space, gosh, that's a pretty gosh darn looking good base right there.
And that's today the big news event, and we talk about. You want to talk about interesting correlation now, Justin? Treasury Secretary Bessent announcing that they're going to attack the long end of the curve by refinancing. They call it providing liquidity for the long end of bonds. And if you bring up TNX. Sorry, TYS.
TYS. TNX.
So that's the 10-year, TYS is the 30-year, and you can see how there's been a lot of chatter on Wall Street about the move that this has had over the last month plus. And what do you do? The Fed only controls short-term rates, and the market sets the long-term rates. And Trump's always talking about wanting lower rates. Well, the market has been disagreeing about that and making higher highs on the long bond yesterday, but you can see that big candle or bar down today. And that is the change that he announced with providing liquidity. So what's the other side of that? Well, let's take a look at precious metals. GLD and GDX have been rallying over the last couple of weeks. Did somebody know about this? But you can see a gap up. Can you zoom in a little bit on your chart there? Plus, there we go. And you can see the changing character about 2 weeks back on gold off of that bottoming base. Went sideways for about the last 2 weeks and now popping out on big volume today. Money flowing into the precious metals, money flowing into crypto today. Trump made some crypto comments this afternoon. IBIT. That's a changing character for that stock too, with the volume and the. You can see how tight some of those bars were over the last few months, and now that's a changing character for that today as well. So bonds down, dollar down. If you want to bring up DXY. And that is, after consolidating, and this is good for the market, lower. We didn't close the best today, and that's going to be interesting to watch. But this move down in the dollar that started 3 weeks ago before consolidating for the past 2 weeks and now breaking lower, that is inversely correlated to what you've seen in the S&P 500. So the dollar's inversely coordinated to metals as well, and this is why we covered these in the tail of the tape section, and we show the charts of these in our Revere Nightly videos when we do, because sometimes everybody wants an explanation, everybody wants to say why, and I know that the answer from our methodology is supposed to be, well, you don't have to worry about why, this is why it's happening, but it is important to pay attention to the yields and to what the dollar's doing, and the far-ranging implications that those moves have.
Yeah, and look, sometimes you have to realize that those correlations on the short term can get askew. You're really kind of talking about long term, what typically happens and what expectations you should have. But it also is very interesting when it doesn't go with expectations. Then you have to start kind of peeling another layer of the onion sometimes. I didn't act the way I thought it would, given this move.
But as long as you rely on price as your final arbiter and not what you think should be happening, that's really the backbone of the entire process, is not arguing with the market.
Yeah, very, very good point. I can't tell you how many times I have been grateful for my sometimes lack of economic knowledge that keeps me out of trouble from having too much of a firm opinion and a lot more reliance on the price.
We don't want to outsmart ourselves, right?
Right. Since you mentioned the dollar, and again, that correlation or inverse relationship a lot of times to commodities, whether it's metals, but we also have, of course, all the headlines going on with oil as well, and the energy sector. So what's kind of your take here, just since this has been a pretty stellar move?
It really has been.
Couple weeks.
And we haven't played this well at all. And the reason is, I guess I'm going to bed and waking up thinking that oil might be down 5%, because we have seen some huge moves down in oil, and it's all headline related to the Strait of Hormuz. And again, I should put my thoughts in my back pocket and ignore them, I guess, because that was a pretty clear downtrend line break 2 weeks ago in XLE, and was absolutely viable. We don't focus a whole lot on energy because it's not a quote-unquote one of the growth sectors that you typically see, but when they move, and they're also a good hedge for technology too. Those two sectors are inversely correlated.
Mm-hmm. Something that you mentioned earlier that I want to kind of come back to, and then I want to cover Moderna to kind of close us out. But this is from our mailbag. We introduced last week that we were going to do a little bit more of taking questions from our audience, and so this one comes from, I'm not sure if it's Life or Leif Furman from our IBD Live audience, and he was asking, feels like the institutions are selling tech into strength and getting out of the way for the coming sell-off. But as you mentioned, it's they might be selling some tech into strength. Where do you see that money going? It seems like the rotations are very fluid here. So what do you think about Life or Leif? Pardon me for the butchering there. What do you think of this idea of the institution selling that into strength?
It's a great question. We very clearly saw the money coming out of AI into that 729, 730 liquidation event. But then we saw money coming back into it, and we saw some stocks that you could absolutely make some money in, and we saw some starting to come up the right side of the base before failing the last couple of days. And, there are people that have absolutely said the AI trade is dead. but they had no explanation for, why some of these just bounced 20, 30, 40, 50%, except to say, oh, it's probably a net gap bounce. But, the money does have to go somewhere, and I think the basis of this guy's question is where is it going to flow into, and that's a segue to Moderna, with them announcing overnight that they have phase 3 approval for a melanoma cancer vax. And the result is that is up 176%.
Yeah. For the size of this company, I can't think of a time where, I mean, you see that with your 15-cent companies, but Moderna's no 15-cent company. That was a stunning move. And I'm just going to go to the intraday chart. Because, if you look at this is the 60-minute chart. If you look at that gap up, it was up 100% very quickly to start. And the fact that it closed up another almost 100% from there.
Go to the 5-minute, Justin, if you don't mind.
You got it.
So Ted, one of our portfolio managers, has a biology degree. So he's always looking for what the next application of AI is going to be, and he's been talking nonstop to us about this is going to flow over to medical and biotech. We've never had this type of computing power available to solve problems, and this is an area that we've seen several. There have been several news stories about AI having an impact on medical research, but this is the first time that I think you can really see it revealed in a chart of a big company with a specific product. And I don't really know how much they used AI. I think it would be idiotic to say that they didn't take advantage of it during this at all, because the trial has been in progress for a while. But if the question is where's the money flowing to next, AI is a perfect application for genomics, for biotech, for medical research, for peptides, and this was very clearly, like you said, it already gapped up 100% and then moved almost another 100% after that. And we started buying this today because for one reason, we've studied these big monster gaps on and the volume was just astronomical on this today. And what this is, Moderna got a pretty with a lot of the news that had been coming out about COVID and some of the injuries that were impacted by some vaccines. Moderna had kind of a negative view for their technology. That is, and some people will say that anything that Moderna produces is garbage and I'm going to stay away from it, and that's fine if that's your opinion. That's how I feel about cigarettes, because my dad died of lung cancer. But you cannot deny the move in this stock today, and that Wall Street is off sides with it, and you can see it's higher after hours as well by another $10. And we're looking to this so that we kind of used the equivalent of, Mike talks about a TWAP, and we bought this periodically throughout the day to start a small position in Grotection. Turbotection that's Ted and Connor manage that has a bigger size on it. They also own ARCG. Ted recognized this very nice setup in an ETF, and again, non-AI tied from a AI infrastructure, let's say, so that formed a nice cup and handle, compressed cup and handle, I guess. It's not showing because it didn't have the full number of weeks, but and you can see the breakout on that today. And if the question is where's the money flowing next, I would say biotech and stocks like this, ETFs like this, are a natural application for AI without the infrastructure costs associated with it, unless I don't know how these companies set up their AI infrastructure, but it's not a picks and shovels company. It's the end result of all of that being established and making the compute power available for it to solve problems. And that's very much where we're looking to next. So really the next two themes may be biotech, genomics, and if we are attacking the long end and dropping the dollar and dropping interest rates, that's generally good for smaller cap stocks. And we saw the reaction saying gold and silver stocks and copper today. So those are kind of on our focus going forward, as well as the few remaining AI stocks that are holding up. We're still in Palantir. That was always looking for where to put new money to work, and Palantir was hated for a very long time, despite announcing. You see how it topped there back in late last year. Had three monster earnings reports that got no reward for the price. Very expensive, but what happens is they continue to grow earnings, and then the price catches up with it, and then that compresses the PE. The PE on this used to be in the high 7, 8, 900s. Now it's still very expensive at 146, but if you talk about a PEG ratio, that's dividing the PE by the projected earnings growth, and that's a lot more reasonable when you're growing earnings the way they are, and what the PE is. So this was a very similar setup, and we're looking for kind of the same in Moderna. You can see the big volume gap up. That can't scare you, because a lot of the biggest moves start with a move like that. And you can see how, a big move up, a 2-day pullback, then a higher high in Palantir, and we've been accumulating this too, and this is our largest position right now after getting stopped out of a traditional AI name, HPE, today on the second day of its negative reversal.
Yeah, and I need to disclose that I also do have a position in this one. I think I might have been buying it around the same time as you, but just to real quickly close the loop on Moderna, I want to go back to the 60-minute chart and ask, when something is up that much, how do you manage your risk? Where do you set a stop? And how do you know when too much is? What's too much?
Right. So typically we use the bottom of the gap day. The best should not violate that, but you can see how far that is down now from where the price is now. Go back to the 5-minute on that, and when I calculated our balance at risk for the end of the day today, I was using that intraday pullback. You can see that initial move up, right there. So that shouldn't be violated. And if we start, we will continue adding to this on proper pullbacks. The high volume close, which is today, is another point of reference. But let's segue in. I heard on IBD Live this morning that Chris wanted me to talk about that 60-minute stochastic and how it gets overbought. We watched this on the 5-minute chart too, Justin, when we're go back to that 5-minute chart, and some of the buys that we were doing today were timed on just that 5-minute getting back to the oversold. It's just the lowest risk spot if you're wanting to add some shares. But as far as what happened recently,
and are you kind of using like a crossover from below 20 to above 20 for those buys?
The moving average crossover from oversold, which is below 20. We don't wait for 20. Yeah. We're really just using looking for it to stop going down. I guess you could say, and then crossover. Let's go to Snow. And we'll bring up the 60-minute stochastic on this, because one of the notes that I made yesterday coming into the day, was that first go to the daily chart. And Snow's pullback after it hit pivot plus 20%. Is that a 10 simple that you have on there as your lowest?
It might might be an 8 EMA. Yeah, it's an 8.
That's an 8. Okay, so you can see yesterday and the day before that pulled back to the 8 EMA, and now go to the 60-minute chart, because the stochastic also had that 60-minute undercut, so that would have been a reasonable spot to initiate a position. But see what happened with the first cross. So there's actually been 3. Go back. Sorry, move your cursor up to where the stochastic is, and you can see 3 times that it hit the 60-minute over the last couple of days. The first one was an opportunity to get in, and that should have held. So that's why that's a low risk spot, but it didn't. The next day we had a gap down along with the market, and then so that if you're entering or trying to initiate or add to a position there, that failed. And that's the way the 60-minute can be used as a low-risk entry to try to sneak into something with the understanding that that should put in the short-term low, because it's been, the momentum has been waning. There's a 14-period look back, and then if you didn't do it, you had another shot there with the 60-minute, and then today you had another shot with the 60-minute. But the fact that 3 of those failed is telling you what you need to know about the market. Because go back to the prior 60-minute cross, back in, keep going to the, go up to the stochastic and go to the, right there. That's how it should have worked. You see how it crossed, and then you had a one-day shakeout, but immediately it was bought, and the stochastic on the 60 continued to trend higher. It gets into overbought, and then you're waiting for it, the momentum to wane a little bit. But that should have put in the bottom, and it should have went higher, but you've now had 3 touches in there, and that makes it, you know, and also the fact that AI stocks really, and software in particular, have been hit the last 3 days. So if you were buying it 3 days ago, that was kind of the shot. It should have held that 324, I think, was the pullback level that I noted in my notes, because that corresponded with the touch of the 8 EMA and the 60-minute cross, and it just failed. They don't all work, but that is a way to sneak in, and that's one of the techniques we'll be using for Moderna too. I've used it in Palantir as well to add to the position. If you want to bring up Palantir and stay on the 60-minute, there's been multiple pullbacks to the 60-minute on the 60-minute stochastic as entry there. You can see the multiple ones. You don't want to see it fail the same day or the next day, but those have provided low-risk entries to get some traction, and Palantir's holding up extremely well. It touched the 8 EMA today, and we're not going to mess around with it because the AI trade is not working very well. If it breaks the lows of today, we'll be out of at least half of the position, but that's just still breaking out of a base, and it's within the pivot plus 5%. It's acting perfectly after a high volume earnings reaction, let's say that. But the best of them in the best markets just ride that 8 EMA higher until it stops, and that's a good time to pull the plug. But that's the same approach that we'll be using to add to Moderna as well, provided that continues to act well.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I should mention, just to plug plug your stuff one more time. If folks haven't checked out, you know, the Revere Asset Management, especially on YouTube, because you guys really do a bang up job. You know, again, the whole team there. I think you provide such great content, and again, that focus on really protecting assets while still growing them. You know, Connor and Ted are doing a great job with the Turbo. You've got your Grotection, the flagship that's been out there for a long time, and yeah, you're growing assets, and you're doing a great job, and especially on the education side. So, Don, really appreciate everything that you do there. You know what? Let me make sure that I give people information in terms of where to find you. So, for YouTube, you can just put in Revere Asset, right?
Right. Yep. And then we have a pretty good FAQ on our website, revereasset.com, just really describing our approach as opposed to the traditional advisor approach. You know, if the AI bubble bursts, and let's say that it's had a pinprick right now, okay, let's just say that, but what we've seen in the S&P 500 is that money flowing out and going into other sectors, and value has really outperformed growth. since the money started coming out of these big names. So it didn't leave the market, and that's why the RSP, the charts of the RSP and the S&P 500 look as good as they do, as well as the mid caps and the small caps. You know, they're at all-time highs. So despite the carnage that you've seen in these names, the money didn't leave the market and go into treasury bills. It stayed in the market, and if you're going to see a bear market like in 2022, everything will be going down. But what you have been seeing is just money flowing out of this growth into value, and now maybe, like I said, we've got these two new trades to look at, with the dollar being weak and the long end of the curve coming down. Today's lows, I think, are going to be pretty important on the indexes, because this was kind of a significant news event, and you don't want it to turn into a news event failure, with the market reacting positively overall, being judged by the S&P 500. It should hold up. It should hold the 21-day moving average. The power trend turned on today with the S&P 500. Normally that's the NASDAQ because you track the leading index. Well, that's not the leading index. You just look at the Qs and compare it to the S&P. The S&P made new highs. The Qs did not. So, always where's the money flowing, where are the opportunities, and most importantly, if I'm wrong, where do I get out?
Yeah, no, those are all, again, the million-dollar questions, really. And I think, again, because you've got a very nice structure to your daily wrap-up of the market, that inter-asset correlations, the tail of the tape, there's a method as you go through it. It becomes very clear after watching, a few of those videos, exactly what's happening in the market on a day-by-day basis. You don't really have to guess or predict or forecast. It's like, this is what's happening right now. And again, that's why I really appreciate your stuff myself. And where can folks follow you, Don?
On Twitter at @DVandenborg, also at Revere Asset on Twitter. It's kind of duplicative, but Ted really runs the Revere Asset. And we've got a lot of YouTube shorts out that are a 3-minute summary of our videos and have been very popular, and also educational concepts. Those are also on our website. Different techniques that we use for our approach to the market. That gets posted on Twitter every morning around the time the market opens. The 3-minute summary. Love those shorts. We got a guy over in England who curates them for us, and he's just fantastic because he understands the markets, and he takes them and does a great job on them.
Well, Don, always a pleasure having you. I'm going to see you in person at the Founders Club. Of course, that's one of the things that we have coming up. So if you're looking for more unique, advanced trading strategies, I highly recommend for our audience to consider that. Our 2026 Founders Club event is in Las Vegas. It's at the JW Marriott on September 26th. And if you can't attend in person, one of the things that we're doing this time around is we're making video recordings of the main stage sessions available for purchase, and that's at investors.com/FCVegas. I think one of the great things about this event is, again, seeing folks like Don, rubbing elbows with a lot of like-minded investors. That's one of the things that I get out of it every time I'm there. I come away jazzed just talking with, again, some of the most successful investors that I've ever met, and that's our audience members a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real powerhouses such as yourself, Don. So can't wait to see you there. And again, for more information on that, investors.com/FCVegas. Really appreciate you being on the show, Don.
Great to be on, as always, and keep kicking ass, Justin. That's what I tell it. That's how I wrap my meetings with the team, and that's get 1% better every day, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks, and again, thanks for everything that you do. It's great stuff. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Don't forget, hey, if you want to have one of your questions answered live on air, do that mailbag. You can go ahead.
All right, I'm going to call it my damn self. Money due to 3 hour extravaganza.